home opener for the Eagan Wildcats as the Burnsville Blaze travel over to Eagan. South Suburban Conference matchup here today. My name is Casey Lux. I'm joined today by Mike Wobskull. Mike, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm trying to do my best to stay warm.
Absolutely. So we got 19-mile-an-hour winds, so that'll be a factor as we go on today. Southeast winds coming across, probably left field into right field. So if they get the ball up to the right center field gap, the power alley, as they like to say, we might see some balls take it a little bit of a distance. But other than that, though, we're excited to get the game up and running. Happy to have this game played today. The snow stayed away, so obviously we can get a game in.
Well, we have a field that gets the benefit of being in the sun, Casey. I think you drive around to other parts of the Eagan Sports Complex here, and you see some fields that have snow on top of it. The freshman game postponed because of that reason. Varsity game, they get to play. You're right, it's windy. You get the ball up in the air to the right side of the field. You got a shot to get over the fence. You will not have to dust off your left field home run call, though, today.
Not
we
today.
have the tall batter's eye, left field fence, and a very strong wind. So if you need to get the ball over the fence, you got to go opposite field.
Absolutely. So we got the coaches. Head coach for the Eagan Wildcats is Steve Butler. Head coach for the Burnsville Blaze is Mick Scholl. They're going through their classic back and forth and going over the old ground rules, exchanging of lineup cards, all the dignitary stuff that they like to do at home plate.
Well, it's fun, customary things that happen at the beginning of a game. And if you're a late arriving part of the crowd, you don't get to see it. But for players and coaches or former players and coaches, there's a camaraderie in this sport, in this game, that maybe doesn't exist in some others. And it's the good old boys, chumming around before the game. These are teams, they see each other a couple times every year, Casey.
Yep.
So these two coaches know each other, and they're ready to get going here.
Sounds good. Well, we'll take a quick break here right now, and we'll be coming back. Hopefully by that time we'll be ready for first pitch, or we'll be finishing up the national anthem. Welcome back. First game of the year, first home game of the year for the Eagan Wildcats, first game of the year for the Burnsville Blaze. We'll give you a little bit of insight as to how Eagan did last Friday, but first, as we're getting ready here to start, we're going to have Mike Wobskull is going to give us the starting lineup for the Burnsville Blaze.
Well, the Blaze have their center fielder hitting leadoff, Eli Kierstead. Batting second will be their second baseman, Cole Sieber. Batting third, first baseman, Jacob Newts. Batting fourth, their right fielder, Colin Heckman. Batting fifth, right fielder, Nick Muser. Batting sixth is their DH, who will be hitting for the pitcher. DH is Darren Einberger. Pitcher, Nick Deischer. Batting eighth will be their shortstop, John Sanselman. And batting ninth, their catcher, Paul Gonzalez. And left fielder, Eric Kilgore. will hit last.
Perfect. And then for your home Eagan Wildcats, and you can probably hear the Jack Esser up in the box doing the PA announcing, but I'll give you the rundown of the Eagan lineup. So leading off for Eagan will be their first baseman will be Griffin Fensky. Out in center field will be the veteran George Anderson. This will be his third year starting. Batting third for Eagan will be your third baseman, Will Hughesman. And then we'll get a little bit more Hughesman later on as his dad Adam will join the booth with myself. DHing today for Eagan will be George Esser. He'll be DHing for the freshman pitcher Brody Illa. Out in right field will be David Rockford. The new shortstop this season will be Matt Cunningham. Catching will be another freshman, Brandon Lindenberg. Playing second base today will be Elias New. And then out in left field, with no relation to George, will be Joe Anderson. As far as Eagan goes, for the coaching staff, you got Steve Butler. It's his sixth season at the helm. Longtime assistant is Steve Cullors. He'll be your first base coach. The third base coach will be another longtime assistant, Zach Walls. And then the new pitching coach this year is Luke Detterman. So with that being said, as you can see, we're going to get Eagan's getting announced as well. They're announcing the full lineups today, Mike, which I think is good. Right, so get everybody announced because it's the first game of the year, first home game, and Burnsville's first game of the season.
Well, for the guys who aren't going to be out there playing, they get to run around a little bit and warm up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's cold out here, man.
Absolutely.
Please. Eagan coming off of a victory to kick off last weekend, 4-1 over Lakeville South. And Casey, I know that you're pretty close with Coach Butler.
Yep.
I have to imagine you've had a few conversations with him since that game, and has to be pleased with how they started.
Yeah, absolutely. He got a real nice start from Lockenmeyer, who got the win. Connor Strop came in as well, and then Fensky's going to be their closer, so they'll bring him in from first base. And I thought I saw on social media for the MASH that Fensky might have got his fastball up around 90, 91 this year. So that's exciting stuff. So he got the save. They combined for 11 Ks, and then obviously you can fill us in on some of the hitters that had a nice day at the plate.
Well, Fensky with a couple of RBIs and a couple of hits, and Rockford had a couple of hits as well. So I think you get a 4-1 victory like that, Casey, and all three pitchers pitch well. You get a couple of kids with 2 hits, and you have a kid with 2 RBIs, and that's a really good start. Now, I understand they expect pitching to be a strength for the squad this year. And, when you're an analyst or a play-by-play guy preparing to call a game or a season, to hear that pitching is going to be the strength for the team is a relief, because you feel like that's a good foundation on which you can build a club.
All right, we're going to stand and silence ourselves for the national anthem. Alrighty, and we're back. Wonderful job up in the booth by whoever was singing. I'm not 100% sure who that would have been, but excellent job all together. Oh, look who's here.
Hey, better late than never, right,
Absolutely.
Casey? Good to see you.
Yeah. So we got Mike to kind of get you loosened up here, and
I didn't have a preseason. This is it, right into it.
just dive right in.
into it. These 4:30 games are hard, but
Okay, look at this. Mr. Huseman, fill us in. What do you see there?
if the season ended today, Eagan would win the conference.
We're going to do that, aren't we? We're going to do that. Okay.
Actually, a great start for Eagan last week on Friday. They got one in against Lakeville South. And, I would say for any game all year long, but for the first game out, the pitching was outstanding. Good defense, timely hitting. Danny Lackenmeyer just threw a gem the first time out, and good defense, and actually a very well-played high school baseball game, I thought.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So I went over to the Burnsville Blaze faithful thinking that they already got one in, but they said that they're 0-0, but everybody's batting 1,000, so they're set for career years on their side.
Everybody's hopes and dreams are still intact.
Absolutely. But no, I think, and you can speak to that game last Friday. Obviously, I always emphasize this, pitching and defense, especially in Minnesota, when you don't have any time to practice outside on the field. So obviously there must have been some good signs from Eagan's defense and their pitchers.
You are 100% correct, especially with the spring that we have had. I'm sure for a lot of guys, the first time, maybe second time they're on a field. And for there to be, I don't remember a single defensive, no errors at all. The base running,
Sure.
It's hard to practice that, right, without playing. So there were probably some base running things I'm sure Coach Butler wrote on the old note card to get after. But defensively and on the mound, I don't think you could have asked for a better opening day.
Good.
It was outstanding.
No, that's great.
And again, some very, very timely hitting. I mean, I'm sure you've heard now about Griffin Finsky's double.
Yep.
And some, in addition to that, just what I thought was some really good two-strike at-bats.
Excellent.
And you can extend an inning and get some two-strike knocks like we had a couple times. It goes a long way. And you make the plays. Let's be honest. You can hold a team to 21 outs, you're going to win some games.
So exciting stuff here. We got the freshman battery, the energizer battery of the game, which will be Brody Illa, and then you got the freshman catcher as well, Brandon Lunenberg. Illa throws fastball, slider, splitter. So we'll see how that splitter works in the
wind.
In this wind per se.
And Brody played a little bit last year, right? But Brandon played a little bit last year behind the dish. But to have two freshmen as your battery, that's certainly says a lot about what years to come for Eagan. But
Absolutely.
Also,
first pitch at 4:38, so we're only 8 minutes behind. That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Just missing a little bit up. We got the leadoff hitter today for the Burnsville Blaze, number 2.
We're getting it in.
So you always got to get that nerves, right? That first start. Got to just get that first strike across, which he does. Fouled off to the right.
And I'm sure, I don't know if I haven't heard anything if he's going to be in a pitch count today, but early in the year, I know, they probably have a number written down somewhere. Is it 50? Is it 60? Is it 70 or something?
How many innings did Lackenmeyer go? 4?
Danny threw, I think, 4 or 5. I think close to that 70-ish mark.
Sure.
And again, for the first time out, that's probably good.
Yeah, especially in this weather. There's a nice pitch in the outside corner, right at the knees. So got to live down there.
For the freshman, I mean, in a varsity game in the stadium with probably more people than he's going to be played in front of in a while, so that's kind of fun.
Got a little bit of the hanging arm action, kind of like Kimbrell, I think. First ball hit over to Huseman at third. Nice recovery to Fensky in time. Good to see him catch his feet there for a second.
Nice play by Will. We'll have to maybe work on his spikes when we get home, right? Are they too big or not? But no, nice play by Will to start the game.
Maybe Coach Colors might have ran that grader a little too deep. Maybe, I don't know.
But hey, a little confidence booster though
Absolutely.
For the pitcher, right? Hey,
well, he's down 2-0, and then he came all the way back with 3 straight strikes.
First game as a freshman too to get the first out. That's big.
Fastball's up. This is second baseman, number 7 is Cole Sieben for the Blaze. But yeah, I'm interested to see, how often he goes to that splitter. I don't, with the wind going to crosswind, I think it should be fine. It might have a little knuckle effect. There's a fastball on the outside corner, but looking like he's mainly trying to get his fastball figured out here early.
Which makes some sense, right? Establish that and then work on the other stuff. Looks like the wind's kind of blowing. Is it in or is it out to right?
It's kind of going like across the power alleys. Originally, it was coming straight in from left. It was saying it was southeast, about 90 miles an hour. There's a curveball. Hit it up the middle of the Cunningham. Cunningham fields it cleanly.
Oh.
Just a low throw to Fensky. Big round, but will stay at first.
But also by Brandon, the catcher, to get down the line. You know, save another 90 feet.
Yep, absolutely.
And, you know, hey, in this kind of weather, I mean, no excuses, but, you know, your hands are going to be cold, and if you're not feeling it, so you'll have to make sure your feet are set on all these today and have some good throws.
Yeah, fielded cleanly. Might just, release it a little too soon. But
yeah.
But the good sign for the freshman is that he's got induced 2 ground balls already.
Absolutely. And, and Eagan's got a little bit of youth this year with the battery we talked about, freshman. Shortstop's a sophomore.
Yep.
So they've got a few kids that are just kind of coming into it. And even the seniors, isn't like there's a lot of seniors that have seen a ton of time yet.
Yeah. I mean, guys that, for me, it's George in center, obviously Will at third, Fensky at first. They've been around for a while. But, as you know, too, I mean, everybody gets their moment now to shine, so it's just about taking advantage of it. Right now we got the first baseman, number 21, Jacob Newts.
And Eagan right fielder David Rockford, although a senior, played a little bit more the second half of last year.
Yep.
But, not a ton of time. And, George was hurt, the center fielder, George Anderson, a little bit last. To your point, seniors, but not a ton of varsity experience.
Right. It looks like early on, for the most part, outfield and infield playing these hitters straight up. You're not seeing too much of shifts or anything like that. Fastball misses up, so we got a 2-2 count, I believe. Yep. 1 out here. But as Mike and I were talking, I mean, it's just so important to get these early games in.
Oh,
that's just the big thing. I mean,
you can't play 4 or 5 games a week. So the fact that last week was so nice, it would have been perfect to have maybe a couple games in last week. But you had to push them back now and end up playing 4 or 5 games a week. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, if the weather can, if the weather can cooperate, if you can stay away from those, multi-double headers a week or a doubleheader every week, right? I mean, that just taxes both teams pitching so much, and then it messes with your rotation the rest of the week.
Yep.
The 2-2 pitch here with 1 out.
I will say this: a lot of strikes, which is good.
Yep.
One of the coach's favorite pitches is a strike, right? Let's make them put it in play. So 2-2, 1 out.
Okay, so now I'm kind of noticing. It looks like he likes to start his grip with the splitter. There it was.
Oh. That had a lot of movement on it.
Yeah,
that's
it
for
did.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much Brandon could have done with that one. I mean, that was.
So that sends Sieben to second. 3-2 count, 1 out here in the top of the first. Wildcat Park home opener for the Eagan Wildcats, and it's the season opener for the Burnsville Blaze. And this will be actually the first of 2 games this year that'll be on Eagan TV. It's kind of a co-op called a quick balk.
Oh.
Which I didn't really catch that.
I did not catch that either. I don't know if there's a replay
pause,
there.
Maybe?
Or
maybe it was a pause, but I don't.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either, Casey. I don't.
It happened pretty quick.
But you're right. He does always grab it like a splitter and then adjust when he gets it into his glove. Ooh, just a little
fastball
out.
Just misses outside. So now we got first and third here, 1 out. That's going to bring up the right fielder. Will be Colin Heckman, number 23. Double play ball, pitcher's best friend here to get out of the inning. Biggest thing, as we said before you jumped in too, is just the communication, especially on fly balls.
Yes.
I mean, it looks like at least he's kind of setting himself to be a ground ball pitcher, but a fly ball hit to Cunningham very well could end up being a ball caught by Fensky, right?
With this wind and how it's going to gust up, run everything out on both sides because you never know. Just a little up. Yeah, decent velocity though as well.
No, absolutely. It looks like obviously still trying to settle into the zone, but just not getting that kind of that high strike early, which is fine. I mean, it's the first inning, but he's not missing by much.
No.
That's a good pitch.
There we go. Nice pitch. Yeah, the 3-2. The 3-2 pitch to Jacob last batter. I mean, that didn't miss by much.
No.
That definitely could have gone either way. So he's around the plate, which is good. Yeah, you're right on the wind. Sometimes it's kind of gusting in, and then it's kind of gusting more to kind of the power alley in right center. And another spot on the outside. Nice.
Yeah,
well
painting
done.
that outside corner. Yeah, actually,
I thought Burnsville might have maybe put something on here on first and third
Yeah.
to stay out of that double play
Right.
situation. But
yeah, I think actually earlier today the wind was blowing straight out to left, and then it kind of flipped. Hangs on a curveball. 1-2 count, 1 out here, top of the first.
nice
Blaze
piece
trying
of
to take
hitting.
an early lead.
Nice piece of hitting to kind of fall that off and stay alive. We'll see if Burnsville puts Jacob in motion here at first. And does Eagan throw down? Do they fake? You know, all the things you can do on first and third.
But yeah, I was going to just say before that this is the first of 2 games, kind of a co-op with Burnsville and Eagan TV. So we're really excited to have, kind of a combo co-op. So, and then we'll also be doing the game as well at Alamagnet later on in the season when it's Burnsville's home game.
Yeah. And we have a big broadcast coming up here on Saturday as well for Alumni Day and Youth Baseball Day, and Grand Rapids coming to town. That's always a fun day for both teams and the whole community.
Yep.
I know last year there were a ton of kids out here and food, and it was a good day at the ballpark.
Yeah.
So hopefully the weather holds for this Saturday.
Absolutely.
And
And I think typically Grand Rapids plays somebody Friday night too, right?
Yeah, they historically have come down here and had kind of a thing with Eden Prairie and Eagan.
Okay.
So years ago, it used to be Grand Rapids and Bemidji would drive down together, and then Team A would stop at Eden Prairie, and then Team B would come here. We'd kind of feed them, and then they'd go flip-flop. I don't know if Bemidji comes down anymore, but it's nice for Grand Rapids kids to come down and get a chance to play some games early in the season, too.
2-2 pitch, fastball up. So big pitch here for the freshman, for Brody. A 3-2 count, 1 out, first and third. Sieben, the second baseman, on third. Newts, the first baseman, on first. Heckman at the plate. Fastball.
Oh,
could be a double play ball.
That's what we need right there.
New to Cunningham.
Very nice.
To Fensky. The old 4-6-3 in the book. So with that being said, for Burnsville, no runs on no hits, 1 error, and 2 left on. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this break.
How you been? Good?
Fostering a pet for a friend or neighbor can keep families together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
This game a little bit more too. But I was telling Mike, I'm like, wow, since he doesn't know a lot of these guys, I'm like, I wasn't sure if he was going to try to get the tag or if he was going to flip it over. All right, we're back. So it'll be the bottom of the first. Eagan survives on a big 4-6-3 double play. Pitching for the battery for Burnsville today is going to be Nick Disher, the pitcher, and he's going to be throwing to Paul Gonzalez.
And Casey, you called it a double play, pitcher's best friend, and well done from Elias New over to Cunningham. Well done. Because the ball wasn't hit all that hard, too, so you never know, right? Do you have a chance? I didn't know if Elias was going to try to tag, right?
Yep.
Tag the runner, but, because that doesn't happen, that run scores, right?
Yep.
So that was well done, well turned by Matthew, and a great way to get out of the inning for the freshman.
Yep. Well, and the other thing, too, is, it just shows you can't dwell on a play from before, right? Cunningham throws one in the dirt earlier to put Sieben on base, but then throws a strike to Fensky, doesn't rush his throw, and gets a big out. So with that being said, we're going to have our leadoff hitter. The first baseman will be Griffin Fensky, 2 RBIs.
You know, Griffin had
Lead the team.
Yeah, he's leading the team. School record right now. No, he had Griffin had a couple of at bats. He probably wish he had back on Friday. Maybe not his best, and he would even say that. But boy, did he have an outstanding at bat his last one. I didn't count it, but it had to be 7-8 pitches long, 2 strikes. It ends up hitting just a rocket to center field. And the wind was gusting in, and the ball still was almost at the base of the fence.
Sure.
So on any normal day, that's a 3-run home run.
Yeah, and that was a 2-run double?
2-run double was 2-1 at the time. Top of the 7th inning. So to get 2 more runs and heading into the bottom of the 7th with a 4-run lead makes all the difference in the world, as you know.
Yep. So Disher doing a nice job of getting ahead early. I saw him working his curveball quite a bit here in his warm-up pitches. So obviously Griffin's gonna have to either find the one he likes or fall off because he's got some snap. There's the fastball.
Did he
Checks
go?
it, did
Nope.
not. And you don't want to assume, but with this being their first game, very well could be Burnsville's ace that they're seeing here today too.
Yeah, you would think so. A lot of those Monday starters, right, are generally the team's number ones anyway. But yeah, especially the first game.
Could come back Thursday or Friday, right?
Ooh.
That's all right. That first around the horn doesn't have to be perfect. So
When a nice pitch actually on the inner half of the plate, kind of been working them out, and then went inside nice.
So that'll bring up the center fielder, which is George Anderson, the senior. A face and a name that we've seen for Eagan baseball for quite a while.
Well, George has been up here since a sophomore.
Yep.
Played a little bit as a sophomore, and I think would have had a nice year last year, but got hurt very early on. In a game, actually, I think we televised.
Yeah.
The game that he and at the time Alex Lockenmeyer collided, and it's good to see George back.
Yeah. Wow.
And he was
can
back.
Create a lot of chaos on the bases. So if he can, he can have a high on base percentage this year.
He's outstanding on the bases, and George was able to. He didn't get a chance to play a lot last summer with the injury, but was able to get back and played football all fall, and back to 100%. So you hate to see those injuries, but glad he was able to come back.
I'd be curious to see what the gun has Disher at because his arm is pretty lively here early.
And he appears, at least early on, to be able to work kind of both sides of the plate.
Yeah.
But getting George on the bases is such a benefit for Eagan. He runs the bases so well.
Yeah, I think of him and Elias New, having so much speed, right?
Yep.
So one change of note this year is you'll notice that Zach Walls, the assistant coach, is now coaching third, and head coach Steve Butler staying in the dugout as that's falled away, which is somewhat of a common trend. I think you're starting to see more and more in high school.
You certainly see it a lot in college, and you certainly at the pro level, it's always that way.
Yep.
But we'll see if it lasts. I mean, Coach Butler, he gets into the game. We'll see if he likes the bench or not. But
1-2 pitch in the dirt.
Nice layoff by George there.
Disher mainly thrown fastballs here early, but he's thrown a couple benders as well. Haven't seen a changeup yet.
Certainly allows Coach Butler to talk to the on-deck hitters, line to some stuff on strategy. That's big for Eagan right there, as we've talked about.
Yep.
And it's not even that George is necessarily fast, although he is, but he is so quick.
Yeah.
Those first couple
it's about the jumps he gets,
Those first couple steps are so quick, and he reads so well. He reads down balls in the dirt so well. He just the stuff it's hard to practice, as we talked about. Base running comes from playing, right? You can't always just do that in practice, but at games, and he's had a chance to do some good things.
So third baseman, somebody that my co-host here knows quite well. Number 5 is Will Huseman. So one of the few lefties in the lineup that if we get one up in the air.
Yeah.
Or either team for them. I don't know how many lefties Burnsville will set up, but fastball misses out.
He might hear about the footwork at third when he gets home tonight, just as we're talking.
Well, first play of a home opener. That's okay.
And of course, he'll give me with, well, Dad, I made the out. I guess you did, so good
absolutely.
for you. So this is also Will's third year, so
Yep.
he's, like I said, he's one of Griffin Fensky and Will are one of a couple of kids that have a little varsity experience.
Yeah. Came in with the fastball. 1-1's their count. Anderson coaxed that walk in the here in the first. But yeah, no, I was talking to Coach Butler, and I just think that a lot of times you get a little different perspective. You kind of see the whole picture. You're not caught in that every pitch action.
Yeah.
Like we're talking, you can talk to the hitters. You can work with them, what to look for. If you're thinking of putting on a bunt, you can almost talk to a guy about that. Maybe 2 batters ahead, right?
Yep.
Things like that. Hit and runs, suicides. So, like you said, we'll see how long that lasts. But
no, I totally agree. You like you said, you can talk to 4 or 5 guys that set up the inning, right? And even if you see something that Burnsville does, for example, with the other team, it's a coaching opportunity. He may want to relay to his guys, hey, if this happens to us, and some of the things he can do live or in the moment.
Yep.
And he seems, Coach Butler's such a good teacher of the game, so I'm sure he's going to take opportunities to continue to teach and teach the boys how to play the game the right way, which he does a nice job at.
So 2-1's our count, 1 out here. George Anderson at first. Pitch to Huseman, crushed to right. Will it stay fair? And it will. And there's a Wildcat jack that we were just talking about.
That's it's a good way to start the senior campaign at home right there.
Holy cow.
Well, now I can't bring up the play at third because then they'll talk about that all night.
No, I think he's just going to want to watch highlights of that home run. So Will jumps on the inside fastball and just hits it on a line. I wasn't sure if it was going to stay fair or not, and it stayed by about, 5-6 feet. But
I didn't either because it was kind of going pretty sharp right.
Yeah.
So, had he pulled that anymore, I think it would have probably pulled foul.
Correct.
But, it's a good start. And, it's not terribly deep to right, but, it comes in at 307. But that's certainly cleared by enough to give the Wildcats a nice 2-0 lead here.
So Disher comes back with a strike. Got the DH now, George Esser. And George is DHing for the pitcher today.
George also had some good at-bats on Friday. As I said, I was up and down the lineup.
Good.
Some really good at-bats, again, for the first time especially, or first game especially, but, good swings. And I know they put a lot of work in these 3 weeks.
Well, it just shows you, George Anderson has a good at-bat, finds his way on first base for a walk, throws over right away, right,
Yep.
because there's a worry of his speed.
Hustle
as we
it
see
out.
a ground ball to Sieben over to Newts for the second out of the inning. But also, with that being said, where Will, does really well is he found himself in a perfect hitting position, right? It's 2-1. More than likely it was going to be a fastball, and that's what he got.
Yeah. And, you know, Case, you've been around, you talk about, and it happened last Friday to a couple of the boys where they're up 2-0, and they end up swinging at that pitch that's higher out, and now it's 2-1, and it's not quite the same as 3-0, where now you got a couple more, hitter count type pitches. And it happened to Will. He was up 2-0 last week and swung at a high strike, right? And all of a sudden you're taking what should be 3-0 and 2-1. So that's something you learn from playing too, right, is knowing those pitches, know what you want to sit on.
So right fielder David Rockford, our third lefty of the first 5 hitters.
And David had some great at-bats on Friday as well. And, David's a kid that can play a lot of spots. Has worked out a little bit at second base, worked out obviously at right field, where he's at today. So they could even play shortstop. So you like kids that can play a lot of spots, too, and David is one of those. As is Elias, the second baseman today. Elias can play outfield. Elias can play second base. Griffin Finsky can play first. He can pitch. He can catch. He could probably play third, right? Will could probably play both corners. So he's got some things he could do with the lineup probably if he needed to.
Yeah.
That's one thing we didn't talk a lot about on Friday. That was that Griffin Finsky came in and threw a great bottom of the 7th inning.
Yeah, as a closer.
After hitting a double to get 2 more runs, and then comes in and did a really nice job.
You wonder how much he actually was able to warm up for that.
Yeah.
3-1 pitch misses, is out. As David hustles down, so the second walk for Disher here in the bottom of the first inning.
And as you know, Casey, at every level, but high school is just momentum. How do you get it? How do you keep it? And a great start, actually. What could have been a tough inning, right, with a little miscue there early on for the Wildcats, and then first and third one out, and a great double play comes in with some base runners, a big hit. How do you keep that momentum going now?
So this will bring up the shortstop, Matt Cunningham. The newly minted shortstop, I guess if you want to say.
Yeah.
Taking over the duties here this season. And I think from what I've heard, they hope to just keep him for the most part at short, right?
I think so. Yeah,
keep him there most of the season. And, we were talking about versatility as we see that one fall straight back. versatility is great to have, but as you know too, it's the consistency up the middle, right? It's the consistency at catcher, your second and short, and your center fielder, and then obviously you can plug in on the corners per se.
You're 100% correct, and I said that earlier, not because the coach wants to, but if he had to, based on they get into 4 games in a week and they need people to pitch, and you just don't want to have anybody play never a spot. But yeah, you'd love to have the same lineup and be consistent, especially short, second, center, catcher. Those spots are so key to get that consistency.
I do know that Cunningham is potentially a relief pitcher, so
correct.
It'll be interesting to see. I guess would they maybe move Elias would go to short? Or?
Yeah, that's where I think he's got thing. Whether it's Elias, whether it's I think David took some reps there. I can't see. Will has played some short through the years, but he's got some things he could work with.
Rockford at first, 2 down here. First, foul ball down the third base line.
He just missed that, but a nice swing by Matt there. Again, it was only a sophomore as well in his first kind of varsity experience. So, what's that old expression? How do you get old quick, right? And how do you get these kids in the game early on? So now you get halfway through the year in sections. They're not freshmen and sophomores anymore,
that's just
right?
it, 100%. Even by halfway through the season, a sophomore can all of a sudden be playing as a junior. You know, and that's what can make you a really good team, right?
David
Swings
is
in the
off.
dirt for strike 3, but for Eagan, 2 runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. After 1, Eagan 2, Burnsville 0. We'll be back in a minute after this commercial break.
Hey, we should volunteer for this.
I wish I had time.
Scrolling all day, time can disappear. Wanna make it count, why not volunteer?
Posting pics of your food, that takes up time. Maybe just eat me, I don't really mind.
Time, you've got time. As your reflection, it's my duty to say.
Time. I've got time.
All my pics are the same.
I am some eggs.
10 hours a week deciding where to go eat.
Well, where do you want to eat? Maybe let's not go out to eat.
You paint your walls from cream to white, and from white to cream, then back to white.
Time, you've got time to binge all of season 9, though it got so bad.
Time, you've got time. We're gonna grow back and be the same brows you had.
Time, you got time.
Listen to my plea as I harmonize.
Time, you've got time.
Zooba-doo-bop, wow.
Just a few hours to keep families from harm. Help us end home fires, but sound the alarm.
Volunteer for a day to install free smoke alarms in your community.
He was fine last year, but coming off a knee surgery and the football season he missed.
All right, welcome back. Wildcat Park, Casey Lux, Adam Huseman. Fireworks early here in the home opener as Will Huseman with the 2-run shot to right field that stayed within the fair lines by about 5-6 feet. So top of the second, the freshman, we have a freshman battery made of Brody Illa as well as the freshman catcher Brandon Lunenberg. And leading off here for Burnsville, 1 second, is number 9, the third baseman, Nick Muser. So, kind of that classic, like we like to talk about, that long, inning in the dugout. So the big thing is he comes out and throws a strike right away.
And he's been around the plate here, so hopefully he can keep that up the whole game.
Yeah, only 1 walk in the first inning.
And I don't know, you mentioned Coach Butler not coaching third. I think Burnsville's in the same boat. I don't believe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's kind of the new trend, right? The head coach is kind of being in the dugout for the reasons we've talked about.
Yeah. 1-1. Comes in with a curveball that
nice
catches the top
there.
half of the zone.
Yeah. Even some of the breaking balls he's missed, good movement.
Yeah.
I mean, for a
the nice
freshman
thing with that,
too.
And some guys, will throw 2 different style curveballs. That one was nice because there was such a difference between, the speed differential, right? And then he comes back with a fastball, hit to right center between Anderson.
Oh.
Anderson takes the dive. Rockford's going to relay it back in, not in time, so it's a leadoff double for Muser. Nice piece of hitting by Muser. Excellent effort by George in center, who is I don't know, maybe a foot and a half away. It wasn't far.
Not far, and that's a perfect case of, George went after he called it, but, that probably could have been the right fielder when it first hit. It was much more almost dead center. It ended up being right center, so.
Well, it was a righty, so, I think George was probably playing him straight up, right? So,
he had a long run, and the wind was blowing that way. And
there's the replay. It was probably by, I don't know, a foot and a half at most. And George's been known to have some highlights.
George has been known to have some highlights. A nice play all around, too. So, like I said, David, but back up. David got the ball right away. He wasn't standing still. He was.
And good piece of hitting, too.
Absolutely.
Fastball hit back here. So, Muser, the third baseman's at first, or at second, that double. So the DH now is Darren Einberger.
Anytime you can go the other way, especially with 2 strikes and see the ball get deep. Great piece of hitting.
Yeah. Fastball low.
And we'll see if either coach does a lot in terms of bunting early on or letting the kids swing away early.
Yeah, it's kind of that old adage, too, of, early in the season, it's always hard to tell, who has the advantage as the fastball misses up. Is it the pitchers have the advantage because the hitters haven't seen a lot of live pitching, or do the hitters have the advantage because, the pitchers haven't been on the mound and thrown a lot, like in real life, not in the gym. Sometimes I feel like one can outweigh the others. From what we're seeing early is that it looks like both teams' hitters are ready to go.
Yeah.
Fastball is popped out to right.
Oh,
Rockford's going to have himself,
that's
the wind's
out.
going to carry that, and that's out of the park. Wow. So the DH Einberger takes it to Oppo Field, hits the top of the fence and goes out. At first, I thought that at first it was going to be a double at most, maybe be caught. But
well, it tells you how the wind. Again, a nice piece of hitting on both fronts, right? Letting the ball travel, hitting the ball the other way, and nice piece of hitting.
So Einberger comes up with a 2-run shot. So it's 2-2 after two-run homers here early on.
As we talked about momentum, how do you get it and how do you keep it, right? And Burnsville comes back with a nice job here in the top of the second.
Yeah, and the other thing too I noticed with David as a fastball misses up is that when that ball was hit, he was kind of staring right at the sun too. So he was kind of compounded 2 things of trying to track it, but then also to try to get an idea of how far that ball would be carried. And as you can see, if that ball gets up by above what the green monster line is, it's going to definitely carry. Fastball brushes him back. This is the shortstop, number 8, John Santelman.
And with how the field is situated, certainly the first base, second baseman, right fielder has the afternoon sun to deal with, no doubt about it.
Fastball miss up, 3-0's the count. Well, and as you can see too, if you're not familiar with Wildcat Park, it's 307 down the line, and you got about a 20, 30 foot line there, and then it shoots up to 370. So it's that little pocket there that people can maybe take advantage of today, right?
Yeah, if you pull it down either line,
right,
it's pretty short. Now, granted, left field's got the big wall,
right?
But 300 down the left field line and 307 down the right field line, so not terribly deep down the lines.
So 4-pitch walk.
Just missed.
Just missed by Illa to Santelman, the shortstop. Going to bring up the catcher, number 14, Paul Gonzalez. So Eagan looking for the first out. 2-2 game. 2-2 game here. Looking for a ground ball, or at least keep everybody away from second base. Illa freshman throwing to a catcher, freshman Lunenberg. Fastball misses in. 0-1's our count. Burnsville with 2 hits on the day. Eagan with just the 2-run blast. Couple walks here by Illa. He's had 2 today so far. Fastball's in there for a strike. Gonzalez, the catcher, is their number 8 hitter. So they're getting ready to flip their lineup as well. Eagan's infield playing pretty much straight up. George Anderson, a little bit of a shade to right center, which would only make sense, as well as Joe Anderson in left, obviously heavily shaded as well with that wind playing as it is. 1-1's the count. We're going to see take off. Lunenburg's throw down to second, not in time as Santalman steals second. Wait to see what that call was, if it was a strike or a ball. I think it was a ball. So 2-1's our count, yep. So Santalman snags his first steal of the season, now in scoring position. Force is out of the play. Interesting to see if Gonzalez will throw down a bunt here on 2-1 to get him over to third. And he won't. Fastball's up. Illa, the freshman, a fastball slider and a splitter. And we're going to see our first mound visit by the new pitching coach, Luke Detterman. So 3-1's our count, 2-2's our game. It's been two-run blast here today to right field. Huseman took one deep in the bottom of the first. And then Einenberger hit one off the top of the wall and went over to tie it up here in the top of the second.
And as we said, you got to tip your cap to Burnsville with two really good at bats to both hit the right center and then to right field over the fence. So
yeah, and I think both of those. I think at least that double they were behind in the count. So so that's going to be the third walk here in 2 innings for Illa.
Well, sets up the force now for Eagan, so there's things they can do.
Yep. Interesting here, though, the number 9 hitter is coming up, and this is going to be the center or left fielder, Eric Kilgore. So I'm sure the bunt play could obviously be put on.
Yeah, with nobody out, I wouldn't be shocked if you didn't have a bunt here or something going on. We'll see how Eagan rotates, who they bring in.
Just missing on that fastball, that top of the zone fastball.
But if you're Burnsville, you may wait till you get a strike at this point, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
no, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, most of these counts, these last few batters have gone, 2-0 or even 3-1.
Yeah.
So 1-0 pitch, another fastball. They did square around, but that was missed. Checking to see if he actually committed, but he didn't. So 2-0's the count. And the other thing, too, is nothing's guaranteed. I mean, it's early in the year. You'd like to think, a lot of people will say, okay, it's not that hard to get a bunt down. But when you haven't done it all season, and it's the first part of the season, all of a sudden you can get a pop-up bunt, right? That ball's going to go out of play, though, but that's important for Brody to get a strike here, make it 2-1.
Absolutely.
So we'll see if the bunt play is put back on or not. I thought maybe Griffin would be playing up a little bit more at first because he's the one that's going to have to be charging in with Brody covering the third baseline. Field looks in pretty good shape.
It does look for the winter it had with the snow last night, but it looks like where Elias is at second and where Griffin, they're probably going to rotate that way given.
There's the bunt he did offer, so benefit to the pitcher there. 2-2's the count, nobody out. 2-2 game.
Eagan needs a ground ball, and if you're Burnsville, you want to stay out of that ground ball, right? How do you?
Yeah, walks have come to Gonzalez and to Santalman. Santalman found himself on second on a steal. 2-2 pitch. Fastball, grounder, up the middle to Cunningham. Only plays to be to first, and not in time. Tough play, slow roller.
Tough play.
He can't turn around and flip it to second. I thought for a split second that the pitcher might have been able to get a glove on it. But
that's what I was just thinking. If Brody could have fielded that, probably no more options. But
maybe his follow-through pulled him off the mound a little bit. But, yeah, the way that it was hit so soft, I thought if anything he was going to get it, just turn around and flip it to second. Okay, so now we have bases loaded. We bring up the top, the leadoff hitter, the center fielder, which is Eli Kierstead. Fastball in there for a strike.
There we go.
So big thing throwing that first pitch strike. Forces all over.
I would think here they'd want to get some outs, so not necessarily having to
Correct.
come home this early in the game.
You want
so
to stay away from a big,
Yeah.
giving up a big inning, right?
They would take 2 outs and give up a run at this point.
Yeah.
Although maybe a comebacker to the pitcher and the old home to first double play.
Well,
those are always good.
And, Kierstead first at bat has hit that backhand play to Will at third. So, and the first 2 hitters, Kierstead and Sieben, Illa was able to coax ground balls. So, if he's going to get a ground ball, this is the time.
Yeah.
So it looks like we got corners. Everybody's actually playing normal depth. I wasn't sure if they're playing corners in. Fastball.
Oh, did it hit him?
Hit him. So that's going to move everybody up 90 feet. As that's going to bring in Centelman to score for the 3rd run of the game.
And this is, like you said, you want to try to stay out of the big inning here.
So
and
that's
with
gonna bring
bases
up
loaded and nobody out, it's they need an out.
second baseman Cole Sieben, his first time up, hit that ground ball to Cunningham at short. So bases loaded, nobody out. 3-2, Burnsville Blaze leading in the second. There's a ground ball to New. Elias gets it over to Cunningham. Cunningham not in time, but that's because Sieben runs quickly. That's going to bring in Gonzalez for the 4th run, but a much-needed out for Eagan.
And Sieben got down to second in a hurry, right?
Yeah.
And made that one very difficult to turn.
Yep. It was hit, it was hit right at Elias at second, but at the same time, he had speed.
And now we're back to first and third, and we'll see if Burnsville does anything here with.
And that's what we're working on here, getting those signs from the dugout, just so that everybody's on the right page, because you just can't afford to, have a cutoff play and then throw it over somebody's head. I think we're going to make a pitching change.
It looks like Coach Butler's coming out. At this point.
And we might be kind of diving ourselves into kind of a relief pitching game now.
Well, I do think with the breeze and with the wind, I think there'll probably be some runs scored today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Yeah. So, book's not fully closed on the freshman Brody, but did a nice job of working through some nerves in the first inning and just didn't miss by much. It wasn't like he was erratic, but gave up a double to right center and then also the 2-run homer to the next batter. And and then a few walks is kind of what taxed him, towards the later half of this inning. So, with that being said, it's a 4-2 ball game. 1 down here in the top of the second. We're gonna send it back to the truck here for a 30-second break, and we'll be back with some more Eagan action after these warm-up pitches.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
How you holding up? Nothing wrong with getting help.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash your hands. Scrub it while you sing this song. Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
All right, we're back here, just like that. Perfect timing by the truck, and I always like to say how great and thankful we are for the ETV crew, the wonderful cameramen and camera women, the crew in the truck. I mean, they're just on top of their P's and Q's all the time.
Absolutely. So Trevin Langerberg, senior.
Okay.
Trevor saw some action last year. You'll kind of notice when he starts throwing kind of a sidearm delivery, which he's had, as long as I've known him, as 14. So he drops down a little bit. Not as much as he used to, actually.
Yep.
He's a little more over the top.
Yeah, I feel like I remember when he was a sophomore, it was almost like, almost straight 45 or whatever angle you want to call it.
Yeah.
It wasn't below, but it was right at the elbow almost.
Not quite to some of the more veteran people in the audience, but Dan Quisenberry from the old Kansas City Royals. He got way low. But no, Trevor saw a few innings last year, and I think they'll look for him a lot this year, whether it's in a starting role or relief role.
1-1's a count, and batting now is the first baseman, the number 3 hitter, Jacob Newts.
But as you know, next man up, right? You're going to have to, jump in and contribute.
Burnsville first and third, 1 out. Langenberg's trying to find the zone as well. It's 3-0. Trying to get that fastball established early. If I remember correctly, is it 2-1? Okay, yep, he did get it. Okay, good call. He got a strike on that second pitch. If I remember correctly, fastball, curveball, maybe a changeup as well. If he had a slider with that sidearm, that would be pretty funky. There's a fastball right where you want it, low and in. So 2-2, 1 out.
Ball's coming out of Trevor's hand well today. He's got a little bit of pop on that fastball.
Yep. And this would be Trevor's first outing of the year. As we
Yes.
mentioned, it was Lockenmeyer started, Strop and Fensky threw against Lakeville South on Friday. A throw over, which was an errant throw over, and that might even send Sieben all the way to third, but he holds up at second, so that brings in Kilgore, unfortunately an error, and then another run tacked onto the freshman Illa.
Well, I know Eagan's not real happy with some of these runs that are, I don't want to call free runs because you got to earn your way on, but with some of the walks and the infield hit and the bad throw, it's.
Burnsville's taking advantage
They
of
take-
what's
yeah,
came to them
exactly.
because they have 2 hits. They have a double and a 2-run homer, and then the rest have been walks and a hit batter. You know? Actually, take that back. There was 1 infield single.
Yeah.
So 3
But
hits.
3 walks, a hit batter,
Yeah.
an infield hit. But to your point, right? I mean, they taking advantage of it, right? You're gonna give people free bases. They'll, especially in the South Suburban Conference, which is certainly one of the very good conference in the high school.
Absolutely.
High school baseball league.
Oh, absolutely. All right, 3-2's the count. 1 out here. Base hit out to left. They're going to hold him at third. Good relay from Anderson to Huseman. So now it's back to first and third with 1 out here, and that's going to bring up number 23, the right fielder, Colin Heckman. So nice piece of hitting by Newts on a 3-2 pitch. Finds that gap between Cunningham and Huseman.
That was a good swing. I mean, good solid at bat right there.
Well, and as we've talked about, when you're put into that that hitting count, you more than likely know you're going to see a fastball, and that's what he got. Right? He had to throw something across the plate.
Yeah, if you're as a hitter, you definitely want to get ahead because, as you said,
And there he does. So pop up. Could still get a force out here, and that's going to be not in time.
Does it get him?
No, but off the base. So once again, that, as we mentioned, that wind can come into play.
Yeah,
at first I thought it was going to be an infield fly, but it
Yeah.
wasn't first and second, so it wasn't. And then with the wind, obviously the ump knows it's going to carry out. So
Well, it blew more to the right and a little deeper, I think, than people thought. But yeah, those are the outs, though, you want. That's for sure if you're Eagan.
and that just, as we were talking earlier, even before you got on, I mean, it's just you have to have everybody has to be backing up and being within the play. I mean, I know that David's playing deep. I mean, it's their number 4 hitter, so I get it. But at the same time, anything hit. I mean, you need to have your first and your second baseman and your right fielder all in the vicinity because with this wind, what you think it's going to be, it's going to move another 20 feet or so. That ball is going to be hit.
That's
Fency's
gonna
going
be
to
a foul.
chase, but not enough room. So 1-1's the count. 1 out here. We have the third baseman, Nick Muser, up. Burnsville's blasted open the door here in the top of the second with 6 runs so far. Only 1 out. Runners on first and second.
6 runs on
I got 5 hits.
5 hits.
5 hits, but I believe 2 walks,
Yeah.
a hit by pitch, a errant pickoff throw. A little bit of everything here, but early in the game, plenty of game left. 1-1's the count, 1 out. Muser's the 5 hitter for Burnsville. We have.
And Eagan had a balk, or was that in the first inning?
That was in the
I might-
first,
yeah, I
yeah.
might
That Brody had a balk, yeah. Heckman is on first. Newts is on second. Curveball misses.
You know, his fastball looks good, but he's missed that curve a little bit. I don't know if he's.
Yeah, 45-degree day too. It's a lot of it's about getting the grip on the ball,
Yeah.
right? You know, a fastball you can have your grip fine. A changeup you can have your grip fine, but you know it's the sliders and the curveballs that if it slides off that finger not right. As that one's gonna be popped up. Should stay in play. Fenske's gonna give her a run. He can't see it, so everybody's losing it. Oh, that sun is really playing a factor.
Sun
here.
is.
That's 2 pop-ups here in this inning that, it could have been out of the inning. I mean, it would have saved 1 run,
Yeah.
on Elias's, potentially. All right, 2-2's the count.
Well, Eagan is desperate need of an out now with.
Yeah, you want to pick up your pitcher, right?
Yep,
I mean, he's doing,
exactly.
he's trying to find the zone, which he seems to be finding here in this at bat. 2-2 count, 1 out. Foul ball right below. Catcher Lunenberg, as we mentioned before, is a freshman as well. Probably been a while since Egan's had a freshman catcher, huh, Adam?
I don't even recall.
Yeah.
I mean, to be a freshman in this league and be a catcher is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, it is-
Typically, you might see a freshman catcher in a Class A, Class 2A school,
Yeah.
right?
Trevor,
There's a
that's big
strikeout.
out.
So a strikeout on Muser, which now will bring up the DH, number 15, Darren Einberger. Einberger was the one that had that 2-run blast to tie the game after he followed up Muser's double. So they've obviously have batted around now. And Einberger's trying to get more RBIs in 1 inning here.
To it, yeah. Yeah, to such an important position as a catcher, to do that as a freshman is impressive. You just don't see that.
Absolutely.
It's like
There's a nice
Trevor might have
pitch.
found the zone here a little bit now.
Yeah, absolutely. Fastball low outside for a strike. 0-1 count, 2 outs. Einberger the DH for Burnsville. Burnsville 6 runs here so far on 6 hits. Or 5 hits, excuse me, as well as 1 error by Eagan. 0-1 pitch, fastball's out. On the base pass, we have Newts at second, had a base hit out to left. Heckman is on first, and he had that pop fly that drifted away from Elias, the second baseman, in short right field. So 1-1's our count, 2 outs. Top of the second, a lot of game left.
That's going to get into the
Fastball
stands.
popped out.
And Casey, you talk about the win today, the almost caught fly ball to George in right center, right? The Elias David fly ball, the Gordo
Griffin,
fly
yeah.
ball here to first baseline. So, run them out. It's a lot of game left, as you said.
No, absolutely. I mean, just kind of one of those innings where just a lot of things happen in a 9-10 at bats, right? Just not throwing some strikes. Then when you did, hard time picking up for your pitcher. Throwing away to first. So 1-2's a pitch. Fastball. Nice job, piece of hitting of flipping it out.
I will say Burnsville's done that a nice job here this afternoon early on, fouling off some balls.
Yeah.
Putting balls in play.
Einberger DHing for the starting pitcher Kilgore.
And as we've seen, right, you put the ball in play, you don't know what's going to happen, right? So put
Absolutely.
pressure on the defense, make them make a play.
Yeah, having a hard time with the grip on the curveball. Is what it looks to me.
Like you said, it's 45, 48 degrees and only going to get colder. So
Yeah. Although I thought I saw, it wasn't a big dip in the wind, but it was looking like the wind was going to drop from about 20 miles an hour to about 15 to 13 within, an hour or so of the game. So ground ball hit to Cunningham, and it goes through his legs as he misses. That's going to bring Newts around to score. Cunningham just kind of lifted up his glove at the last second. Maybe we'll see a replay for the 7th run of the inning.
Yeah, the ball definitely stayed down.
It stayed down, yeah. It was pretty much a routine grounder, but it just looked like he just kind of at the last second tried to kind of rush the delivery for that force out. So it's going to bring up the shortstop, John Centelman. Stole a base earlier in this inning after he walked. So 2 outs. There's a fastball in there for a strike.
Way to get ahead.
So Langenberg's been throwing strikes other than walking the one batter.
Yeah.
And, basically just that first batter, he, threw that one away on the pickoff and then a walk. But other than that, he coaxed some
a couple fly balls and a couple ground balls.
Exactly.
And you can't ask much more. Oh.
That fastball gets away. His second hit by pitch of the inning. It's going to move everybody up 90 feet. So that's going to bring up the catcher, Paul Gonzalez. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
Number 14, Paul Gonzalez.
Kind of has a feeling of just everybody just waiting to get to the dugout and just start swinging the bats again. On the Eagan side, Burnsville's taking advantage though of the not only the mistakes but having good at bats and fighting off pitches at the same time, not being too swing happy and making whether it be Brody or Trevor here throw strikes early in the count. Right, they really haven't gave in. I can't tell if they're getting like a take sign, but there's not been a lot of swings on first or second pitch of the at bat this inning.
No. And it's like one of those things now, it's like Burnsville saying, what else good can happen?
Right.
And now Egan's starting to think, like, what's going to happen to us next?
Yeah.
And we got to try to get out of this and then, regroup. We still have 6 at-bats left, so a lot can happen.
Yep. 7-2's the score. Maybe I'm missing a hit, but I have, okay, yeah, so I see what happened here. I gave a hit instead of an error. So Burnsville's out hitting Eagan right now, 4-1, with Eagan has 3 errors.
And a few, you're probably looking at 7, 8, 9 outs this inning, you know, in terms of.
The 1-0 pitch is out, so 2-0's the count. Bases are full. We have Gonzalez at first, and Tellman at second, and Einberger is sitting over at third. Two down, 7-2's our score. Langenberg looks for a sign, delivers fastballs in there for a strike.
He definitely has control over his fastball today. He's thrown the. Looks like Eagan may have someone else in the bullpen just getting loose.
Yeah. Looks like Ryder, Leitenberg's going to get loose maybe as well. Fastball outside corner for a strike. Thought about it for a second.
Yeah.
But wants to keep the game moving.
Slight hesitation there, but he
wants to keep the game moving too.
A little better with that breaking ball. That was definitely a little tighter. He finished that one up.
Eagan's set to play tomorrow or not till Thursday?
Wednesday.
Or Wednesday,
yep,
okay.
Wednesday. I think they're Wednesday at Shock.
Curveball hit up the middle. Bobbled by Cunningham. Everybody's going to be safe. So that brings in.
Well, Trevor continues to throw ground balls, and.
So that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, which is the left fielder Eric Kilgore. Yeah, I mean, it was hit up the middle. At first, it seemed like it was hit harder than it was, and Cunningham did a good job of covering that ground and getting it. That one looked like it maybe did pop up on him a little bit, but it would have been tough. It would have been tough to tell even if he fielded it cleanly with the hit so slow. If been beat out anyways by Gonzalez, I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know. Second might have been tough with a force with the lead and the jump and being behind the base. But yeah, it would have been. It might have been an infield hit anyway.
Yeah, I think his only play was to go to first.
Yeah.
So. Fastball misses to the number 9 hitter, the left fielder Eric Kilgore. I'm trying to think of who started this inning. I think it was Newts. So this is, I think
they've hit around.
I think they've sent around at least 12 guys, maybe.
They've hit around and then some.
Yeah. 1-0, 2 outs. 8-2's the score here early. Fouled off to the right.
Well, 8 runs, 2 outs is 10. Bases loaded is 13. So we're probably we're hitting through a couple times. You never want this stuff to happen, but you know what? At least get it out of your system early on in the season. You know, and stuff you can clean up.
1-1's the count to Kilgore, the left fielder. Pitched by Langenberg for a strike on a fastball on the outside corner. 2 down here, top of the second. 8-2's our score. As we mentioned earlier, Burnsville out hitting 4-1. But 4 errors here this inning as well for Eagan.
Yeah, the 4 errors and a couple miscues. Let's put some guys on base.
Fastball misses low. I mean, it's hard to say what it could have been because obviously it was already, first and third early after the 2-run homer. But, I think, the coaches would have been fine if they would have, left inning 4-2 or 5-2. They just didn't want it to get to 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah.
Keep it within 2 or 3 runs. You figure, you could find a way to kind of chip away. So 2's on the board, 2 outs, 2-2 count. Langenberg to Kilgore. Swung on and missed. So they get out of the inning for Burnsville. 8 runs on 4 hits. 4 Eagan errors. 3 left on base. 8-2's our score. We'll be back in a minute for the bottom of the second here at Wildcat Park.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
It's not a freshman pitcher. You probably keep him out there for another batter. Alrighty, here we are back here. Bottom of the second, 8-2 is our score. Disher's trying to get loose after sitting in the dugout for, 15, 20 minutes here. Adam?
That was a long, long inning for the defense, so hopefully Eagan can claw back and just get a couple, right? You're not going to necessarily tie it up or take the lead this inning, but how do you get a couple back and get some momentum? And Casey, I think I do have to correct myself. The game with Shakopee was scheduled for Wednesday.
Okay.
And I was just told by the crack crew in the truck here that the game was changed to tomorrow.
Okay.
So you were right. They are playing
the reason
Tuesday.
I was asking is because with this looking like a relief pitcher, a lot of pitcher potential game, I was interested to know kind of when they would get their rest because I know they're set up to play today, Tuesday, Thursday at home, and then Saturday against Grand Rapids. So now, granted, with Brody only throwing a few pitches, he'll be able to come back probably Thursday or Saturday, right? So with that being said, that's all stuff to worry about later. The staff's going to worry about the now right in here. So Disher, first pitch, fastball's in there for a strike.
Eagan needs a claw back for a couple of runs now.
Yeah, we got the freshman, Brandon Lunenberg, up at the dish. Up at the plate. Ooh, low strike. So Disher working quick. 2 fastballs, 2 strikes. 0-2's the count to the freshman catcher.
That one looked a little lower than some of the other strikes he's been calling.
I thought so too. Fastball just misses the outside corner, which he wanted. He thought he had. Which I think that might have been the best pitch of the at-bat. right, 1-2's our count. So, I think, and the other thing too is, now you completely kind of play in. Disher was not necessarily too erratic in the first. Curveball, nice piece of hitting, fall
good
back.
Good swing there.
But now you have a 6-run lead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just throw fastballs, and then mix in a couple curveballs, right? I mean, if you give up a 2-out double, it doesn't hurt you when you have a 6-run lead, right? So, fastball in. Nice at bat here by Lunenburg after taking 2 quick strikes.
And little things, right? How do you get your leadoff guy on, right? Get a chance, even if you just get one across this inning, just something, right? Get a little momentum back. And as you know, the leadoff guy gets on. Statistically, you have a nice chance to, put somebody across the dish. So.
Yep. Yeah, Lunenburg doing a nice piece of hitting here, fouling off 2 of these 2-strike pitches. Another fastball, so 3 of them already. He's
Good
gonna
at
make
bat
him work,
here.
right? Make him use up some pitches.
Good at bat.
Give the guys on the deck some more eyes on. But it's been fastball. I mean, he's throwing nothing but fastball. I mean,
how do you just string together good at bats? And if he could manufacture a walk or an on base on this after this at bat, what else do you ask for? I mean, what, full count, fouled off 3-4 pitches? I mean, 10, 11 pitch at bat.
3-2, popped up. Enough room for Kierstead. It just, hung up there, and then, of course, the wind's at, right?
Yeah, the flag is laying straight now, isn't it?
Yeah. It seemed like he got that off the end of the bat, too. The way that the sound of it didn't really have much to it, right? So, second baseman Elias New comes up. Real nice 4-6-3 double play that he had in the first inning to survive an inning with no runs for Eagan.
And as you mentioned early on in the broadcast, Elias runs very well. So, like George Anderson.
Yep.
I mean, certainly most of the lineup, but George and Elias specifically run the bases really well. Ooh.
Elias takes so that's our third hit by pitch today of the game. 2 on the Eagan side, pitching side, and 1 here for Disher.
As we've talked, it's hard to get a grip with that ball, right? It's a cold day. It's windy. He'd been on the bench for the last 15, 20 minutes.
So Joe Anderson comes up, the left fielder, number 8. So we'll see how aggressive. Obviously, they're down by 6, Eagan is, but might send him in motion at some point, maybe even a hit and run. I'm curious, too, if there's going to be some drag bunts here today, on either side, just kind of testing out third or first base fielding. Ground ball is going to be hit to Sieben. Sieben flips it over to Santelman, to Newts in time, so they get their own 4-6-3 double play to quickly end the inning, as Disher probably only throws about 14 pitches. So for Eagan, no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody now left on. 8-2's our score, leading into the top of the third. We'll be back in 30 seconds for the top of the third here at Wildcat Park.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container, because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You alright?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Alrighty, here we're back. Casey Lux, your play-by-play, along with Adam Usman, the color commentator today. First of 6 regular season games here by the lovely crew of ETV. So we're very thankful for all their help and assistance and the wonderful job that they do. We got cameras, multiple angles, 4 different cameras, and we have an 8-2 score as the Burnsville Blaze are leading in their first season opener, first game of the season for their South Suburban Conference season. And for Eagan, this is their second game of the season after a 4-1 win Friday at Lakeville South. Trevor Langenberg is the one that came in relief of the freshman pitcher Brody Illa. And we're going to have the the leadoff hitter, the center fielder, Eli Kierstad, is going to be leading off here in the top of the third. This will be his third at-bat already as Burnsville sent 12 to 14 hitters up to the plate here in the second inning when they scored their 8 runs. So Langenberg's first pitch to Lunenberg as catcher. Ground ball to second baseman New over to Fensky in time. 1 pitch, 1 out as Kierstad is retired, and that's going to bring up the second baseman Cole Sieben. Sieben also his third at bat. He bats lefty.
Well, that's how Eagan wanted to start anyway, right? Get a ground ball, get it out, and try to get back in and get the bats going again.
If I'm correct, I think Sieben's our only left-handed hitter.
I believe you are. Yeah, I believe you are correct.
But as we've mentioned previously, but if you're just joining us now, the previous inning, was it Muser and Einberger as that fastball is up, 2-0's the count. Muser, a right-handed hitter, is the one that hit the ball in the right center gap for a double, and then Einberger, another right-handed hitter, is the one that hit that 2-run homer, and now the wind's picking back up.
That flag is.
What do they say? The flag is quivering. No,
yeah, exactly.
A little bit more
And
quivering. That's a golf
last
term.
inning it wasn't moving.
No.
I mean, the last half inning, I should say. It's.
All right, 2-1's the count to Sieben, the second hitter, also the second baseman for the Blaze. Curveball low, 3-1.
Trevor has actually thrown well. I mean, he's ground balls, fly balls. He's around the strike zone.
I think his only walk was either the first or second batter in the face.
I mean, it's.
And we jinxed him with the announcer jinx. So 5-pitch walk to Sieben, which I think is a threat to steal. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. So number 21, the third baseman Jacob Newts now comes to the plate.
There hasn't been much stealing so far, although a lot of station-to-station stuff last time.
Yeah, I think actually the only stolen base was the shortstop. Santelman had one last inning, early in that inning. First pitch, fastball, ground ball hit over to Huseman. Huseman going to relay it to New to Griffin in time.
There we go.
So the second double play in 3 innings by Eagan.
There we go.
So one thing that they can definitely hang their hat on here early as we see a 5-4-3. So for Burnsville, no runs, no hits, nobody left on, and no errors. We'll be back in 30 seconds. 8-2's their score here at Wildcat Park.
How's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine. But if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Okay, so as my cohort and I were talking, Eagan, you got to be happy with 2 double plays in 3 innings.
Casey, if we roll back a half hour and I said at the end of the 3rd inning, Eagan would have a double play to end the 1st and the 3rd inning, we'd say we like our chances.
Yeah.
So
Then you get that snowman in the second.
And then, Burnsville with a double play.
Exactly.
So to have,
and they had an inning double play last inning.
To have 3, 3rd inning with 3 double plays, all well executed.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Okay, so for the Wildcats, we're going to flip that lineup back over, and we're going to have first baseman, senior Griffin Fensky. And I think we didn't mention this earlier, but Griffin's set to play at Iowa Central as he takes a big whack. Disher still pitching on the mound. He started off here today. Gave up the 2-run homer to Huseman. Other than that, has done a nice job of settling down. hit one pitcher, hit one batter. That was Elias. But other than that, I think it was just the walk, the home run, and a hit batter. So primarily it's been fastballs. It does look like he has a sharp curveball.
Yeah.
At least I was seeing him throw in between innings. But, just a grip thing. I haven't seen a changeup. I mean, maybe he's just taking something off his fastball. I haven't seen like a palm ball or a circle change of as far as his grip. There's a curveball.
But to your point, with a 6-run lead, at least in the bottom of the second inning, he was mainly just throwing fastballs. Like, hey, yeah, guys, just see what you can do, and it worked for him last inning. But that was a nice breaking ball. I'm out of the zone, but that was a sharp break to it.
Yep. 2-2's the count. A new thing here at Eagan is the scoreboard's actually, I think, done now in the dugout. If I remember correctly,
I believe you're right.
The team manager doing it in the dugout.
That one I just missed. I think there was a pause there. I could have seen that going either way almost.
All right, 3-2's a count. Leadoff hitter, senior Griffin Fensky, popped out. So yeah, as we mentioned, Griffin, big baseball guy with a lot of versatility, which obviously will play well college-wise at Iowa Central. Came up as a third baseman. Last year was needed a catcher.
Yep.
This year needed a first, and as we mentioned, is the closer. Swung on a miss as Disher reaches back a little extra more for that strike 3. That'll bring up the number 2 hitter, the center fielder George Anderson.
And I'm not sure. I'm not sure where Griffin's going to play next year, position-wise.
Right.
I'm not sure where they actually where they see him. To your point, he could maybe play the corners. I don't know if he's going to throw, but he's got some options next year.
George reached on base, came around and scored on Huseman's home run on a walk in the first. A little bit of an off speed. Well, I think if I remember correctly, I thought that with all of his hard work in the off season and seeing some stuff on Twitter via MASH, I thought that I saw that Griffin there's a strike comes in on a fastball. I thought I saw his fastball got reached up to 91, 92 or somewhere around there.
Well, you might be right. I know he was upper 80s. I know for sure.
I think he added a good 2, 3, 4 miles an hour. So you never know how that's going to play in college, but.
And you remember they're 18, right? You get their nutrition
weight,
and their strength and their weight conditioning. Because the sitting at 88, 89 get to 92, 93. You don't know.
Almost looked like I clipped him, but it didn't. So I think he got 3-1s or count to the senior center fielder George Anderson. Almost made a highlight play here in the second. In the second inning.
One of many.
Ground ball's gonna be up the middle. Santelman not able to field it cleanly. Nice job of the backup by Sieben, but George gets down there in time for a. We'll see what the official scoring is. I mean, he could have beat it out.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to mark it down as a hit for him.
And you like, as we talked about, you like getting George on base. Now down 6 runs.
Got to be safe.
You can't do quite as much as you could if it was a little closer, but still runs the base as well. If Will can find a gap here, the way George runs, you never know.
So third baseman, senior Will Huseman, signed on to go to Concordia St. Paul, the school that myself and Coach Steve Butler played at. And he announced his presence with authority, I think they used to say in a movie from back in the day with a 2-run homer in the first. So we'll see what Disher does, because obviously he doesn't want to bring that fastball low and in like he did to him in the first inning. One out, 8-2 is our score. Bottom of the third, home opener for the Eagan Wildcats. Burnsville Blaze's season opener in the South Suburban Conference. Fastball in for a strike.
It's so windy, the center fielder's hat just blew off. He's chasing after it.
I've seen a lot of hats off today.
Hopefully the pitcher notices that and gives his.
Could just as well just wear hoodies and be fine.
Yeah.
Because the bills of the cap isn't stopping them from the sun anyways. Now they throw over.
Actually, that looked like a little better move there.
Yeah. Ones are count. Center fielder George Anderson at first. Foul back. So Anderson's reached twice here today. He had 2 hits on Friday, I believe, as well.
George had a nice opening day on Friday. And Eagan now, they just need base runners.
Yep.
I mean, they just need base runners because as we saw from Burnsville, a lot of good things happen with guys on base. And we'll see what he comes at here with 1-2. Does he come with a breaking ball? Hasn't thrown a lot of them.
Yeah.
Maybe try to go off speed.
Yeah, I mean, you tend to see, right-hand pitchers want to stay away from that breaking ball into a lefty, although he does come in. And that's kind of the, if you're going to throw one, it has to be in the right spot.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to throw it where it's going to break kind of right at the hitter's back left knee. Not to hit him, but kind of be in that zone so that the only way they can get to it is like on a golf swing. So 2-2's the count, 1 out. Anderson at first. Big pitch out. Disher. Disher had a quick inning last inning. I think it was about, I don't know, other than Rockford's at bat where he fouled off a few, right? Or no, excuse me, Lunenburg's at bat.
I don't know if, after that it was.
Yeah, so
handful
I can't
of
imagine
pitches.
his pitch count's too high, at least at this point. Payoff pitch as George takes off, foul back.
Doesn't surprise me they wanted to get George running just to kind of get some stuff going on too.
Yep, absolutely. Well,
especially with Will, who's generally a contact hitter, right? You never know.
Potentially open up some holes in the infield, right?
And at least historically has showed some power gap to gap. If he hits one on the air, George could probably get back. So I don't mind the move even being down quite a bit, getting guys moving.
Well, and you're also sending a senior on the base paths, right? So foul tip, but hung on by Gonzalez as Disher gets a strikeout, and that'll make the second out, and that's going to bring up the DH, George Esser. So that might have been the first maybe changeup, I think.
Yeah.
Or at least he just took something off the fastball there. Or it was a curveball that just didn't really break that much, but definitely that was
something more off speed than we've seen before. And a good time to throw it, right? I mean, that's a great time to throw it, yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought that maybe the steal was on there.
Yeah, he had a good jump.
He had a little bit of a lean on his right side. All right, so DH Esser started off today hitting for the freshman Brody Illa. There goes Anderson, the throw down by Gonzalez, not in time. Nice backup by Santelman to keep it in, which, I mean, George would have stayed there anyways.
Yeah,
but
well, Burnsville has done that a couple times, right, in terms of nice backup between the middle infielders. Once on the ground ball and once on that play.
So, Anderson at second. Good chance of scoring on a base hit by Esser.
And as
Casey trying to tell us that it's 0-1 and not 1-0. Yep.
And Casey, as we said about, if the ball's not hit to you, who you're backing up, what are you trying to cover? And at least what I've seen here today, Burnsville does a nice job with that.
Yep.
That's the little stuff you don't always see in a scorebook, right, of a backup that keeps a guy from getting another 90 feet where the next guy flies out or hits a base hit and it's not a run scored, all those little things.
The backup matters a lot because if he throws a pass ball here and George would have been on third, then that would just would have been gifted a run, right? So, absolutely. 0-1's a count. Senior George Esser, the DH. Anderson on second, looking to score his second run here of today. 8-2's their score, 2 outs. Big swing.
Another nice breaking ball, yeah.
So yeah, it looks like Disher's getting a little bit better feel here as the game's gone on from his curveball. His curveball looked really sharp in the first, at least in the warm-ups, but there's no hitters in the plate, obviously. So 0-2, 2 outs. Curveball.
Another curveball.
Wow. A little bit of delay there. I didn't know where that crossed.
I thought that might have been a little in,
I thought it was a little bit in too. I thought it was in and low, but
he clearly he threw his curveball that inning better than any time to date.
So 2 strikeouts that inning for Disher. So no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. 8-2's our score at the end of the third. Coming back to the top of the fourth in 30 seconds here at Wildcat Park. Alrighty, here we're back. Wildcat Park, top of the 4th inning. Burnsville Blaze up 8-2 after a big 8-run second inning. Trevor Langenberg came in relief of the freshman Brody Illa. He's still on the mound. Came in relief of him in the second, so trying to work on his clearing out 3 innings here for Langenberg. For the Blaze, it'll be their right fielder, number 23, Colin Heckman. First pitch will be a fastball crushed out to left. Anderson going back and makes the catch. Wynn held it up, hit well there by Heckman. 1 pitch, 1 out by Langenberg. That'll bring up now the third baseman, Nick Muser. Muser at least with 1 hit on the day. Langenberg getting ahead early here in the 4th. As we mentioned, 8 runs in the second inning if you're just joining us. First pitch, fastball, swung on a miss. 4 hits and 4 errors by Eagan. 4 hits by Burnsville, 4 errors. Few walks, a hit by pitch. Errant throw to first on the pickoff. So a little bit of everything and a 2-run homer. Started off that rally by Einberger, as Einberger hit that bomb in the second, and that tied it up after Will Huseman hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the first. Fastball misses up and in, 2-1's the count, 1 out. Other than that, though, both teams have kept their starting lineups intact, and as far as Burnsville goes, they still have their starting pitcher, Nick Disher, on the mound. Langenberger, a senior. Fastball in there for a strike as he hits the inside corner. 2-2's the count, 1 out. As far as the infield goes, you have Huseman at third, Cunningham at short, New at second, Fensky at first for the Eagan defense. The freshman Lunenberg is the catcher. And there's a strikeout by Langenberg. So 2 down as Heckman goes down. Muser goes down, and then now brings up the DH, Darren Einberger. Darren Einberger had the 2-run homer in the second inning. That ball hit down the line to right and hit actually the top of the fence and bounced over after a double by Muser. And
another good inning for Trevor, though. I mean, getting...
Yeah, 1 pitch, it was hit really square by Heckman, but a nice job by Anderson to get back and make the play against that wind. Fastball misses out. And then real nice job on that last at bat to Muser of kind of mixing it in and out. But yeah, definitely he's found his rhythm here in the 3rd and the 4th.
Yes.
And very much part of his grip too. He's fouled out to right. The outfield for Eagan is going to go Joe Anderson in left, and then George Anderson in center, and David Rockford in right. 1-2's the count, 2 down. This is the DH, Darren Einberger, who had that 2-run homer to tie it in the top of the second. Curveball just misses. Might have been a little bit low, but a good pitch. Yeah, I don't think we were thinking with this win that we were going to see 2 home runs as quick as we did, right?
No.
1 right away. I mean, I can understand a lefty getting into one, but even Wills though wasn't a. Oh wow.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Well, there we go. So Langenberg gets 2 strikeouts, and I guess that would crossed up both of the announcers. So no runs, and no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. 8-2's our score. We'll be coming back for the bottom of the 4th for the Eagan Wildcats here at Wildcat Park.
Fostering a pet for a friend or neighbor can keep families together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut, the one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
How you holding up? Nothing wrong with getting help.
If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence?
Now you need my help.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
All right, here we are back here, bottom of the fourth inning. Nick Disher, still the starting pitcher for the Blaze on the mound. Still going for Burnsville. And now for Eagan.
So Rockford, Cunningham, and Lunenburg, and we need to get some guys on base here.
Yep.
You don't want to be down 6 going into the 7th. How do you just get a couple each inning now and just turn this into it? A little more of a game.
So David, the senior, playing right field, but as Adam here mentioned earlier, can kind of cover a lot of ground as far as second, short. So versatile player, as Disher's really done a nice job of finding the zone here after that first inning.
Yes, he has.
Steele's only getting up that one hit, which was the home run by Huseman. Nice swing, though, by Rockford there. Other than that, though, he had a hit by pitch and I think maybe 2 walks, right? So
he's been in control. Looks like he's now kind of established a couple pitches now he can throw for strikes.
Yep. 0-2 here to Rockford, senior.
That 3-2, like we said last inning, 3-2 off speed or changeup was good. That was
fastball on the outside corner. So I mean, he's definitely, like you mentioned, it's not even so much up and down. It's just he's kind of kept it about, I don't know if you want to say like belt level lower, and then he's done a good job of establishing outside corners to whether it's a righty or a lefty, right? So shortstop coming up here now, number 11 is the sophomore Matt Cunningham. First pitch, curveball swung on and missed.
Another curveball.
Yep.
And you can get that breaking ball around the zone like he's doing. I mean, he's going to make some guys.
Well, and he understands the lineup, right? I mean, what you're noticing too is he's throwing a lot more curveballs early in the count, to the hitters 5 and down, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of taking his chance that even if he hangs one, it's not maybe going to get blasted on as much as it might from the top 4 or 5 hitters.
Sure.
So quickly again, 0-2 as he's done now, both hitters, and another strikeout. So we're not going to try to do the announcer jinx, but he's trying to go for that immaculate inning here.
He's
6 pitches, 6 strikes, 2 strikeouts. And that's going to bring up the freshman catcher, Brandon Lunenburg, who did give him a battle his last at-bat.
Yes.
Fouled off, I think, 3 or 4 pitches with 2 strikes. So there's ball in the dirt, fastball. Immaculate inning is not happening.
I'm not going to say he's settled in because he's thrown the whole game, but he definitely looks in control now with everything.
Yeah, I don't even think it was nerves in the first inning, really. It just it's fouled away.
Well, as we saw, though, with Burnsville's second inning, this temperature and this wind, you never know. You gotta play all 7.
Yeah. The one thing though that Burnsville's done, better on their side as far as on offense is that was called low, is just putting the ball in play, right? Because that was such a big part of that 8-run inning is just putting the ball in play and not taking strikeouts, right? Fastball misses, 3-1. Disher looks a little annoyed by a few of those pitches. I do like his tempo on the mound. I mean,
yes, good pace.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
So Casey, what do you think of
walk.
What do you think of the pitch clock in the major leagues this year? Is that something you're for or against? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm for it. Absolutely. I think the nice thing is where some people say like, is this going to happen in high school and so forth? 1 second here, we got Tate George is going to come in and run for the catcher here with 2 outs, and that's also going to bring up Elias New, the second baseman. No, I'm all for it. I think in high school and college they do a good enough job of kind of policing themselves in a sense to keep the game moving. I am interested where the 2 rules that I see on the major league side that could come into play down the levels would be the no shift, right, to college or high school. I think that wouldn't be a bad thing at all. It just keeps the game moving, keeps everything a little bit more fair and even and true. And then the other one is the throwing over twice.
Yeah.
Because even in high school, you'll see it where guys will throw over a step off, and all of a sudden you have a 6-minute at bat, and the guy really only threw 6 pitches to home, right?
Well,
and
you definitely see it in the numbers, though. The pace of play at the major leagues is changed substantially.
But as far as like the pitch clock and the hitter's clock, I mean, I think in high school kids do a good job of getting in the box ready to hit, pitchers getting ready to throw.
Yeah.
And you're still going to have some long games in high school, and that's usually due to the fact of a couple big innings or just guys not being able to throw strikes. So like that's just going to happen anyways. But yeah, I think the shifting and the throwing over twice, I think that's something that you might see down the road as we see Tate George taken off. Throw down by Gonzalez. Not time.
Well, good time for a base hit here and get one back. Get some momentum going.
Yeah, 1-1's a count. Oh, excuse me, 2-1's a count to Elias. Tate George came in to run for the catcher, Lunenberg. That ball's going to be popped up. Plenty of room for Newts. Retires it. So for Eagan, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on. After 4 complete, it's still 8-2. We'll be back in 30 seconds for the top of the 5th inning here at Wildcat Park.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/therightseat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
We're back here at Wildcat Park, Eagan Wildcats home opener, and Burnsville Blaze's season opening game in the South Suburban Conference. The Blaze took advantage of a big inning, 8 runs in the second. Started with that 2-run homer by Einberger, and then they just kind of took advantage of some errors and some hits, walks, a little bit of everything. That ended up knocking the freshman Brody Illa out of the game, but bringing in Trevor Langenberg, who's done an excellent job pretty much ever since he's came into this game, which is going to be vital for Eagan and is important for any of these high school teams with so many games in a short period of time. You just can't afford to throw 4 or 5 pitchers every game, as much as you might want to get them out there to get some action, right?
Yeah. And especially if games get called off or canceled and you end up playing 4 in a week, those types of things.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor's done everything I think you can really ask him. I mean, he's, like you said, maybe hit 1 or 2 guys, but a lot of ground balls, a lot of fly balls.
Well, and if the plan was to bring him in, in the perfect scenario, you bring him in on a clean inning or clean bases, right? He comes in, I think it was either bases loaded or 1st and 3rd. I think there was still nobody out. I mean, so it's just – and then he has to try to find the zone, right? It's a little bit different than throwing out in the pen, right? So ball's in the dirt. We have number 8, so that would be the shortstop, John Santelman. I know he had a stolen base earlier. He had the only stolen base for Burnsville, I think, previously. Fastball misses out, so it's 2-0's our count. As far as Eagan's defense goes, we still have the same lineup in the game. No substitutions here yet. And same thing for Burnsville. And Burnsville still has their starting pitcher in the game, who's done a really nice job ever since the 1st inning. There's a fastball in there for a strike, potentially taking the whole way. I think what we mentioned before, too, is from Langenberg, what we mainly have seen is just fastball, curveball. He's maybe thrown snuck a changeup in here too.
Ooh, but that caught the umpire, I think.
Yeah, that one smarted. I think that was like a shoulder shot, right? He looks all right.
Yeah. Casey, I'll look at this. So you talk about a freshman catcher. Just good training, right? The umpire takes one off the mask. Catcher walks out, just gives the umpire a second to catch his breath a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just that, it's not even really an unwritten rule, just more of a courtesy of baseball, right?
Yeah. Well, there's some moxie there for a freshman to know that just walk out there and give the umpire an extra second to.
Curveball in the dirt. Well, and another I don't know if you saw it here earlier, but when they announced the players before the game, they announced both sides. They announced not just the starters, but the whole teams. And the Eagan players went over and kind of gave if you want to say, a good luck as we see a base hit to right field here by Santelman. So he reaches base second time. But just a nice gesture by the Eagan players of going over and giving kind of the coach Mick Scholl a pound as he's kind of battling prostate cancer right now, and it just shows you that even if it's your rival, that there's more than everything than baseball and winning the game, right? So.
Absolutely. And a nice another nice piece of hitting by Burnsville, right?
Yep.
With 2 strikes going the other way.
Yeah, early on when the wind was really howling from straight from left, I thought it was definitely going to be a game of who can either hit the keep it on the ground or hit low line drives the most. Because even on some of these line drives, if you get it up, I mean, it's going to allow it to potentially hang for like as we saw that hot shot. I think it was by Muser last inning. That was a nice play by Joe Anderson at left. I mean, normally that ball it wouldn't have gone out, but that ball was on a line to probably hit the wall. But even with the monster out there, that wind still stuck it down. So 2-0s our count. We have the catcher Paul Gonzalez up. Second balk of the game, which once again I missed because I was looking down. I don't know if he said he went to his mouth. He went to his mouth in the rubber.
Oh, okay.
I still don't know what happened with Illa in that first inning.
First inning, yeah, I don't know.
That very well could have been the same thing. I think that might have just been a non-pause thing, but you typically don't see too many balks to start the season.
This game's got it all, right?
Yeah.
3-4 double plays, a couple of balks.
A couple home runs.
A couple of home runs.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's been seasons where, I do the PA or be doing this, and I wouldn't see more than 2 or 3 home runs the whole year by both teams, because this park can play pretty big at times, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you don't hit a moonshot to left, as we see a runner taken off to third, not in time to Huseman.
Good jump.
Yeah, good jump. It just looked like Lunenburg didn't get a good grip on the ball either.
Yeah, you mentioned the park. I mean, 390 to dead center and 385 and the alleys. So no, you're going to have to hit it in the alleys to get it out of here.
Well, and I just think too, a lot of times you're going to get some sort of wind. It's not usually going to be 20 miles like today, but it's rare that you're going to see the wind going out. Typically, it's coming in or going cross field. So 5-pitch walk to Gonzalez. Nobody out here. It's going to bring Coach Butler out, which might also mean a pitching change, which we'll see who that's going to be. But you do have to kind of give your hats off to Langenberg for kind of being that middleman, right? As he did an excellent job of throwing strikes, especially in the 3rd, 4th innings. Had quick innings as well. So, but Burnsville looking to add some more runs here as Santelman's on 3rd and Gonzalez is on 1st. It looks like we have, number 7, Ryder Leitenberg coming in. We'll be back in 30 seconds here as we'll take a quick break while Leitenberg gets warmed up.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. Of course, it's awkward to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping. Hey, bestie, how sketch is me? It's hard to get their attention. Ready? Go. Yes. Look at that. You even turn yours over. So if you want to talk to your kids about the dangers of vaping, you got to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
I'll see y'all.
some batteries and 2 flashlights.
What's up, champ? I feel like you get taller every time I see you. Congratulations, Brandon.
Ryder Leitenberg, senior, right? Right,
Senior,
Adam?
yep. Ryder's a senior this year.
Lefty. How many lefties do they have in the staff?
They have Ryder, Luke Roiger. Trying to think of the whole staff. They got, I think just Ryder and Luke Roiger are the only, and Danny Lockenmeyer.
Okay.
Danny Lockenmeyer.
There we go.
I
So
think
three
Danny's
lefties.
more the starter.
Yep.
The other two probably more relieving duties this year, but
Colin Westrom pinch hitting as we see a steal down to second. We're going to get the out, which they do, but in doing so, they're going to give up the run as Santalman comes in. An excellent throw by Lunenberg.
Yeah,
that was his best throw down to second. Just threw a strike to New. Pinch hitter is Colin Westrom, number 33, who looks to be pinch hitting for the left fielder Eric Kilgore. So,
well, we also wanted to, just avoid another big inning. So, yes, they gave up a run, but you don't want to have another 6-7 run inning here if you want to have a chance to get back into the ball game.
Absolutely. Well, you want to stay away from a 10 run too, right? You want to be able to let everybody get their at bats in, people get their mound work in. Even in a 9-2 game, you can get a lot accomplished, even if they were to take a loss, because it's all about getting some experience. Get these guys on the mound for the first time, get them an extra at bat, maybe bring in a pinch hitter, more situations.
Yeah, at this point, you just want to play innings, to your point. Every inning's a learning opportunity, and you want to keep doing as much as you can.
So Leitenberg comes in, does a nice job.
Ryder looks very good.
Absolutely.
Ryder, whose older brother Reese played here a couple years ago, was
and
part
North
of the
Dakota
team,
State?
and now at North Dakota State. And he's part of that team in the spring of 2020 that was canceled that year. That there were some great things expected from that team. They had a very senior-heavy team. A lot of those kids went on to play are playing college baseball. So unfortunately, those kids didn't get a chance to play their senior year. But so Ryder's older brother is up at North Dakota State.
And people are familiar with that last name.
Yeah.
I think
Certainly
pitching runs in that family,
pitching
right?
runs in the family. Ryder's sister plays on the state state girls basketball here team for Eagan. So
absolutely. So this is the leadoff hitter, which is the center fielder Eli Kerstad. But yeah, going back to that 20. Whether a team was set to go to state or a team that may have won 3 or 4 games, you just felt so much for all those kids that lost their, the seniors that lost their. Lost that whole season, and then but on top of that, you have to think of it too. There's freshmen, there's sophomores, there's juniors that lost experience.
That whole year developed. Well, the current seniors on this team now, they missed their freshman year.
Absolutely.
Of high school baseball and most of that summer. So.
Ooh, fastball up and in. Kerstad gets out of the way. 2-2's the count. 2 outs. Lunenberg got the first out with just threw the cannon down to second to New for the. To nab, I think it was Gonzalez. That was stealing. 2-2 pitch, fastball up. 3-2 now is our count. He did strike out the pinch hitter Westrom. So Leitenberg's trying to have himself a quick inning here as well. Get the boys back in the dugout. 9-2's our score. Burnsville out hitting Eagan 5-1. Unfortunately, Eagan has the lead in one category that they didn't want, and that's errors at 4-1. And Eagan's still sitting on that one hit from Will Huseman, which was that 2-run homer. 3-2 pitch, payoff. Looked like it was in there, which had been called earlier.
That did not miss by much.
No. But Ryder's doing a nice job working quick.
Yeah.
Looks like for the most part is trying to, command the fastball, which he has been. And only really one really got away, and that was that last kind of high and tight pitch. Brings up the second baseman, Cole Sieben, who's got some speed. We'll see here. Kierstad's got some speed as well, but obviously they're up 9-2, and you have a lefty in the mound, so that kind of negates a little bit of your running game.
Casey, I guess I didn't realize till you said it that Eagan does only have the one hit.
Yeah, well, it's been 2 walks to Anderson. I think what was it? New got a hit by pitch, and then I don't recall what the error was, but that would have been the other. So I think they really only had 4 or 5 base runners, and really Will wasn't a base runner because it was a home run. And obviously the second inning, I think it was the inning-ending double play.
Yeah.
That one gets away from Lunenburg. He's going to see if he can get him out here at second, but not in time as Kierstead hustles down to second. Plays now is going to be played at first. 2-1's the count to Sieben, the second baseman.
Oh, I think the error was on George Anderson's, I think, ground ball up the middle.
There you go.
He misplayed.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, so I think then has George been on base 3 times? 2 walks and the error, or was it maybe the error was this? Maybe somebody else got a walk.
Yeah, walk and then the error. I think
Okay.
Because it'll be Griffin will start the next inning. I think that'll be the 3rd time through.
Okay. Somebody else got a walk. So yeah, because I think Disher really's only had 2 walks and a hit by pitch, and then the home run ball. So. All right. Well, Leitenberg trying to get out of here. And that run before would have been charged to Langenberg as well. 2-1's the count, 2 down here. Wildcat Park. Fastball, outside corner in for a strike. Same defense for Eagan, as well as, for the most part, same defense for Burnsville. Although we do have somebody warming up for Burnsville. It looks like it's the third baseman, Users, getting loose in the pen. Ryder's pitch low. Yeah, and on the Burnsville side, now with the somewhat of a lead, this is probably a time for them maybe even to get a guy out there for 1 inning and then another guy for 1 inning, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what Disher's pitch count is, but maybe he'll run back out for the 5th. It can't be that high.
He hasn't thrown that many.
No.
Yeah, again, another nice piece of hitting from Burnsville, right? Fouling off some tough pitches and extending at bats. I think we've seen today they've done a nice job with
and they've
that.
also been smart on the base pass. I don't think they're Kierstead, I think he was just taking off on his own because Ryder really wasn't looking back, right?
Yeah.
Off speed misses as Sieben will go down to first for a walk. That'll bring up the first baseman, Jacob Newts. Yeah, for the most part, the walks, hurt Eagan in the first and second inning. Langenberg did a nice job, 3rd and 4th. The 5th, maybe he just got a little tired. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, there was strikes thrown. Is that? Now we might have a play at the plate. We'll see, and we don't. Now we're gonna have we got a whole lot happening here. Okay, so I'm sure there's a replay. But before I can even talk about it, it was just a whole lot happening. So, ball in the dirt. Kierstead takes off for 3rd. Lunenburg, the freshman, probably could have held on to it. Throws a 2-hopper to 3rd. That gets by Huseman. I was shocked that Kierstead actually came and went home on that. I don't even want to call it a snowball fight. It was just a whole lot of a whole lot.
I don't know how you even do that in the scorebook.
I was really shocked that Kierstead came home from 3rd. I mean, he must have thought that it went out to left field, right? But I guess when you're up 9-2, you can
take some chances.
You
when you're
don't really
up
want to make the
9-2.
3rd out at home or at 3rd for that matter, but
when you're up 9-2 and
make him make the play, I guess, right?
Put some
Make
pressure
him
on
make
him.
the throw. Yeah.
If you're
2-0's the count. Newt's the first baseman.
As we've said, the team that plays catch the best will win a lot of them. And
Leitenberg gets a strike in the inside corner. Second baseman Sieben, the number 2 hitter's at second. He reached first on a walk. 10-2's our count, or a score, excuse me. As Burnsville plated their 2nd run here of the 5th, after being held scoreless for the 3rd and the 4th. Nice pitch by Leitenberg on the off speed up and in. 2-2, count, 2 outs. Wildcat Park for the Eagan Wildcats home opener. Once again, I want to say thank you to all the wonderful staff of Eagan TV as Leitenberg's pitch is in the dirt, first of about 6 games this year, Adam, and maybe even, hopefully, maybe get some in the playoffs. We'll see.
A big thank you to ETV, who does this for so many sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great for the kids to be able to get on TV, and for folks or friends or relatives that don't
watch
live
the tape,
here.
right? Go back and watch it. I mean, go back and watch it at bat. If I could have done that in high school, that'd have been awesome.
Absolutely.
Big pitch there on that off speed by Leitenberg. Gets that strikeout on a 3-2 pitch. But for Burnsville, they get 2 runs on no hits, 1 error and 1 left on. After 5.5, it's Burnsville Blaze 10 and the Eagan Wildcats 2. We'll be back in 30 seconds for the bottom of the 6th.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
This is not what I would have.
All right, and we're back here, bottom of the 6th. It looks like we're going to have a new pitcher here for Burnsville, and that's going to be number 23, Colin Heckman, who is the right fielder. If I had my beanie coolers, Adam, I'd tell you he's playing right, but we'll find that out later. But the day is done for Disher. I guess, what do you have to say about the starter for Burnsville after he went 5 strong?
I mean, how do you... First start of the season, throws a 1-hitter through 5 innings. The 1 hits in the first inning, and it was in, almost total control after that. I mean, and you could argue the whole game. He maybe threw 1 bad pitch, right? And, Eagan took advantage of it with a home run, but you'd be very happy, I would think, for him. And I can't imagine he had more than 60 pitches, 70 pitches.
Wow, that's just it. I mean, I think I would guess that he probably had somewhere between 6 and 9 strikeouts in 5 innings. And really, he wasn't even that wild in the first. It was just that he was kind of trying to find the zone. Will hits that 2-run homer after George gets a walk. And then after that, he pretty much was, for the most part, lights out.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
He had 1 hit batter, and he had I think another walk in there. So I mean, he almost saw close to the minimum in a sense. So that's gonna for Eagan though here in the bottom of the 6th. We're gonna have the left fielder Joe Anderson.
So
Heckman's
then
our
the top
pitcher.
of the order, and it's not over, right? We still got a couple. We got a couple innings left.
Wild things have happened.
Yep.
My toes are already cold, so if we go long, we'll go long. Fastball outside just misses.
But no, a very good opening day for Burnsville.
Yeah.
I mean, and Jen, we talked about the pitching there. Defensively, they've made the plays when
Only
they've had
1 error.
to.
Yeah.
I've been more impressed with their at bats. I think they've done a nice job with just putting the bat in the ball.
Yeah.
And making Eagan have to field it.
2-1's the count to Anderson. Anderson, the number 9 hitter for the Eagan Wildcats. Heckman, seen his first action on the mound this season as he sees a dirty curve go outside. 2-2's the count. No, I think you're right. I mean, it's a combo, right? Eagan really hasn't put their defense to test a whole lot, and obviously a lot of that's due to Disher. But they're at bats and just putting the ball in play. I think if you went back and watched the tape, a lot of the stuff that they were putting in play was with 2 strikes.
Yeah.
And it was, or they would foul off a pitch. I know on that double, I think he just got done fouling one off to left. It was a nice pitch by Brody on the mound. George makes that play. You never know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that could all of a sudden save the big inning, right? But as that curveball just misses. But that's where I was impressed too, is fighting off pitches, and then just in a game of wind, and it's early in the season, and I always think of too, it's how many times have either of these teams been able to take grounders outside? Yeah. As Joe Anderson gets into one to left center. Oh boy, that's gonna go all the way to the 384 side.
The deepest part of the park. Oh, he hesitated.
Stop for a second, go to third, and he's gonna be safe. So gets the juices going for the Wildcats. Yeah, I know. I noticed that too. It looked like he kind of thought, I think I'll stay at second. Nice piece of hitting by Joe. Two-strike
Absolutely.
hitting, pops into one, gets saved a little bit because the wind was down, and first triple of the season for the Wildcats.
He hit that one very well, and he that stutter step made me a little nervous coming out of second, like are they going to throw him out? But no, he hit that one very well.
Yeah, and here's the replay.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get the whole thing at the replay, but you'll see him kind of think twice as he's coming out of second. Oh, they're going to the ball, but he stuttered a little bit, but no, a good hustle there, good slide.
Absolutely.
And now we're back to the top of the order.
Yep. Senior Griffin Fensky, who's also one not to waste his swings very often, right?
He doesn't get cheated up there.
But hey, you got to like that when your left fielder number 9 hitter can pop one in the gap like that and also show some speed. And you just don't want to ever, give into a game, right?
Absolutely. And if you can, put up a big number yourself here. Put some pressure. You never know. As we said, you got to play all 7, and Burnsville's only had the one big inning, so there's a chance.
Heckman's going to be out. Anderson's going to come in, and it's going to score in time. So that wild pitch by Heckman brings in Anderson, cleans up the bases. 1-2 count to Fensky.
Yeah, that was a well hit ball there by Joe.
And it didn't have like the sweet spot sound to it. That's why when he hit it, I thought, how far is that going to truly go? This could get Fensky on first on that ball that hit off the top of the plate. So he reaches first on a strikeout.
Yeah, Casey, when he first hit it, I kind of thought it'd be one that would almost drop between the left fielder and center fielder.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be caught at all, but yeah.
Just kind of stay in that alley.
Yeah.
So Heckman's now lined up for one of those rare stats of maybe getting 4 strikeouts in an inning. You used to hear about those fireballs. You used to hear about those fireballers that would do that, though. Guys would end up with 20 strikeouts in however many innings, and they'd have an inning of 4 strikeouts because they would just be throwing curveballs in the dirt. Their catcher couldn't block them. So George Anderson, center fielder, number 2 hitter up now.
The game's
George
had it all.
twice.
2 home runs.
A triple, a double.
Triple, 3 double plays.
Yep.
Almost 3 outs on 9 pitches and a strikeout. On the
two
verge of
2 balks, 2 hit by pitches.
That was
I think
close.
about 3 stolen bases.
Yeah. That actually was close. It was a good move. And obviously you want to always be aggressive, but also not take chances here when you're down. You're down
That's
7.
Just it. I mean, get a safe lead. Don't need to get a crazy lead, right? Nice pitch in the outside corner. Looks like it took a little something off there.
At this point, you don't need a run. You need base runners, right? And keep it rolling.
Heckman came in from right field here to start this inning after Disher went 5. Fensky on first. Anderson at the plate. Anderson's reached twice. A walk, and then he reached on an infield error.
He hasn't had a chance to swing the bat a lot today.
No.
A lot of around the zone, but nothing really that George has been able to. Obviously not now, but George is an exceptional bunter.
Right. Yeah, I thought early in the game. Yeah, there it is. I thought earlier in the game that you might see, even when they were down 8-2, I thought, if you're not squaring up the ball, do you drag bunt here or there? I mean, just to try to find a way to, because all of a sudden you get a good bunt down, they throw it down the line, you could be on second or third, right?
Yeah, George has been a very good base hit bunter, drag bunter since, he was probably 11, 12 when you kind of started putting that part of the game.
Yeah, that's a weapon for a lefty, isn't it?
And he's quick, as we talked about, so it's
3-1's the count here.
Heckman base runners on
to Anderson, fakes the bunt, throws in the strike. Fensky at first, 10-3's the score. That triple by Anderson was Eagan's second hit of the game. Big pitch by Heckman. As George is just trying to kind of keep this lineup rolling, try to get to Huseman, Esser, Rockford with as little of outs on the board as possible. Ball hit to Santelman. Santelman flips it over to Sieben. Sieben's just going to hold on to it, but they get that lead runner for the first out of the inning.
Well, as you said that, I mean, to get George on with first and second and nobody out.
Yeah. So, third baseman, the senior, Will Huseman, number 10. The 2-run homer in the bottom of the first to give Eagan that lead early. That was tied up by Einberg in the top of the second. Now George Anderson is on first. Already has a stolen base, I believe, on the day. Off speed misses out.
You know, I don't know, with the lefty up and George runs well, who knows? I know you're down by a lot, but
yeah.
As you said, you also want to try to put some pressure on the defense as best you can.
And Heckman was the one in right field that got to see that home run go out, so I think he realizes he doesn't want to come inside either, right?
Yeah, you definitely can see they're working Will away. And how they're setting up against him.
2-0. There's a fastball that catches outside corner. Or outer third, for that matter.
I mean, they're setting up and working away, and the pitcher's hitting at spots too. So,
yep.
Credit whatever they're trying to do. It looks like they're on the same page and they're getting it done in terms of where they're working them.
Off speed, stays up. 3-1's the count. 1 out here. Bottom of the fifth inning.
You know, here's the same thing. It's a hitter's count. So if you're going to swing at this, you know, you wanted something that you can drive.
Fastball in, walks Will. All righty. So we got the DH. George Esser now comes to the plate. Huseman on first, Anderson on second. It's going to bring a mound visit to Heckman on the mound.
And George has some power. I mean, he's a big, strong kid here. Big. George also a football player, offensive guard on what was turned out to be one of the better seasons that Eagan's football had in a long time.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
And there's quite a few baseball players. David Rockford, George Anderson, George Esser, Will Huseman. They've got quite a few kids that play football. Tate Gage.
Okay.
Yeah, so 5-6 kids on the Eagan football team also play baseball here.
I'm sure the baseball coaching staff doesn't mind having those guys in the weight room during the summer and in the fall, right?
You know, when you want to, everyone loves their sport,
right?
But there's a lot to be said for playing sports, right?
Absolutely.
And being, especially at the high school level.
Yep,
you know,
absolutely. Now you get different groups of friends.
Yep.
It's just different strategy, different life lessons.
What I still think whatever your favorite sport is, the other sports help in some
absolutely.
way, whether it's
100%.
speed, quickness, lateral movement, everything, hand-eye coordination.
Oh, yeah. Huseman at first, Anderson at second, 1 out. Esser the DH at the plate. Heckman came in for Disher on the mound. First pitch swung on a missed. 10-3's our score. Here in the bottom of the fifth. I was like getting ahead of myself. I was writing stuff down here as it was already the 6th inning.
Yeah, good swing though there by George.
Yep.
You know, Casey, I was thinking the 6th too. You're right.
Yeah.
It's, I think the scoreboard at one point may have been.
That might have been it too.
So, like I said, with three more cracks at it, you know, can you get a couple 3 each inning? And
well, that's I guess where I got confused is because I thought that their starting pitcher Disher went 5 innings.
Yeah.
But
I did too. I think the scoreboard was at one point an inning ahead as well.
Yeah, that can happen. You know, it's their first game at home too.
Everyone's working through it, right? We don't have a spring training. We just got to show up.
No. Good at bat so far by Esser.
And as you know, you get deeper in the lineup and with the pitching and depth, you never know, right? So, yeah, it seems out of reach with 7 runs, but with 3 innings left, and they can make something out of this, right, and put a big inning together here.
Yeah. Coaches like to talk about crooked numbers, right? You just stay away from 1, right? You just kind of keep finding a way to get 2, 3, 4. George taking a big enough lead to at least make Heckman think about him. Outfield playing A little bit of a shade to right, but which is understandable with the wind, especially that left fielder. Center fielders, though, for the most part, have been almost down the middle. 2-1 pitch as they send them. And held onto by Gonzalez.
Well, Coach Butler, as we talked about, trying to make some things happen here.
Yep.
Hey, base hit. We got ourselves a little ball game here now.
Well, and I think what Eagan hitters has liked is that Disher's out of the game, too. So
yeah,
you make some of these other guys throw for the first time of the season.
Perfect example of can Eagan put it in play with 2 strikes.
Yep.
You know, much of what Burnsville's been able to do today.
2-2 pitch, high and tight again to Esser. So Heckman's obviously trying to come inside with, he's trying to jam him. That's been, I think all 3 of his balls have been, have been not necessarily high and tight, but have been inside pitches. So I don't think he understands he doesn't want him to be able to extend his arms, right, and use that power. 3-2 pitch. Fast curveball is up. So bases loaded. So walk to Esser. So now you have Anderson on third, Huseman at second, Esser at first, which will bring up David Rockford, and that's also going to more than likely bring in a new pitcher here for the Blaze. We're going to give you that change here in a second. I think it's going to be number 11, which is Ben Wolfel. Alrighty, so as Ben Wolfel gets warmed up here, it's 10-3, 1 out, bottom of the 5th. We'll be back in 30 seconds to see Wolfel versus David Rockford. Welcome back. Wildcat Park. Home opener for the Eagan Wildcats as they're taking on the Burnsville Blaze. Burnsville Blaze's first game of the season. The Wildcats came in today 1-0 as they beat Lakeville South 4-1 on Friday. It's a 10-3 ball game, but Eagan does have the bases loaded here with 1 out. This is the second pitcher of the inning, as it's going to be Ben Wolfel. He's in relief of Colin Heckman, who came in relief, pitched last inning, started last inning after a masterful job, really, by the starter Nick Disher. But it gets to, as we were talking before, right? It gets to everybody's first time on the mound, throwing strikes, getting familiarized. How good of bats can you take? Patience, as well as fighting out the pitches you don't want.
And now Eagan needs to do that in his next 3 innings. So how do we make extend at bats and just get on?
Yeah, and Eagan actually, let's see here, as I think all 3 guys have reached on walks, right?
They have.
Yeah. Joe Anderson had the leadoff triple, but then it was walk to Anderson, walk to Huseman, walk to Esser. Esser had a good at bat. Didn't necessarily follow any pitches off, whereas Will did.
Yeah.
But at the same time, didn't give in either, right? He took a big hack on the first pitch, and then after that, did a nice job. So, bring up the lefty David Rockford, senior as well, playing right field today, and finds himself in a big position, right?
Hopefully David can find a gap here and get some runs in.
And David had 2 hits on Friday as well. So him and George both had 2 hits. So he came in with a pretty high average.
Yeah, David swung the bat very well on Friday.
And I'm sure if you ask the head coaches whether they want to give you the true serum answer or not, but having a senior up in this moment, you just rather have that than even if your sophomore freshman is a superstar, right? Fastball in there for a strike, so nice job by Wolfel to come in and throw a strike right away. And more than likely, Rockford's taking all the way there anyways, so that's kind of one where you tip your cap to the pitcher and say, hey, just we'll let you throw one right over. So now we kind of get in the motion of where this next pitch will be. Fastball low and in there for a strike, which Rockford really didn't look like he wanted. That one looked like below the knees to me. I don't know how much it was off the plate, but I know we probably should be watching the monitor more, but because Eagan does such a good job with that center field camera, but
great.
I like to get the feel of the, watching it here too. 0-2's the count, bases are loaded. Nice job by David fouling it off. And you just want to keep doing that until he slides something in there that you can put in play.
Looks like they're working David out as well, right in the outer half.
So you got Anderson at third, Huseman at second, Esser the DH at first. Burnsville playing back, so they're definitely just playing for the outs or double play with a 10-3 lead. Ball in the dirt, good job by David. All fastballs so far. Nice piece of coaching by Burnsville.
Never take a play off at the high school level, right? There's always something to work on.
And coaching in-game is going to be more vital halftime than in the gym anyways. Fastball up. Good patience by David.
Hopefully David can extend this at bat. It's also good to see with track practice, kind of good to see a lot of activity up at the high school again on after school, all the extracurricular activities.
A good crowd today too for 45 degrees.
Day.
Yeah. Winds, I told you before it was supposed to calm down, so I don't know if it's down to 15 or so, but 2-2 pitch. Ripped. Past the right fielder, which I think is Heckman. That's going to bring in Anderson. Huseman. They're going to wave Esser home. They're not going to reline in, and we get a triple by Rockford after a great at-bat of 2-2.
I mean, that was a great at-bat. They're down. David was down 0-2. Fouled off the 0-2 pitch. Let the other ones go. And that's the kind of stuff we saw from Burnsville in the first half of this game, right? Just putting together good at-bats.
So just like that, it's a 10-6 ball game. Excellent effort. I can't see what number that was in right. Was only, similar to George Anderson, was only a glove's length away. It was right there.
You talk a game of inches, right?
That's such a tough play because, with bases loaded, you make that catch, you only score a run, you save a huge one. He couldn't get behind it, so it would have been tough for him to, because sometimes they say, on the ones that are in front of you, they always say, well, don't dive if you got a big lead because if it gets by you, right? That's the worst thing that could happen. Alrighty, so pinch hitter now is going to be Ryan Eckerly, who's going to be pinch hitting for the shortstop, Matt Cunningham. I would think that potentially just a re-entry for Cunningham back to short. Eckerly's going to get at bat here. Rockford at third. But, excellent effort by the right fielder. You're going after it. Tough part is it gets by him, and it ends up with Rockford at third. Nice swing by Eckerly, who comes in off the bench, ready to go.
Going with no sleeves today, too.
Tough guy. Egan's a tough guy, Tom.
Oh, absolutely. The late, great Bud Grant would be proud
Absolutely.
Today.
Now, he'd be really tough if he didn't have batting gloves.
Yeah.
Wolf's
sat in the passing of Bud Grant. That was obviously a legend in every sense of the word, from his college days to the pro days. Never had a chance to meet him or interact with him, but from a distance, certainly.
1-1's our count, one down. 10-6 the game as Egan's found some life here with 4 runs here in the bottom of the 5th. Eckerly fouls that fastball away. For the most part, Wolf's been throwing strikes. He did walk Esser. But he's came in throwing strikes, and you tip your cap to Rockford because David had to foul 1 or 2 off, and then obviously got that triple that he popped to right. 1-2 pitch to Eckerly, curveball in there for a strike. Yep, crossed him up. Probably was looking fastball there. You like to see the aggressive coming up, but I think he just got crossed up. So, with that being said, bring up the freshman second baseman, Brandon Lunenberg. Lunenburg, excuse me. I keep saying Lunenburg. That's a New Ulm name, Lunenburg.
You definitely would like to see David get in, though, right,
Yeah.
and make this a 3-run game with at least a couple more at bats left.
Fastball outside corner, so Wolfels do a nice job of hitting corners and keeping it low, other than I think it was maybe Esser's at bat where a few of them got up.
Yeah. Agreed.
And Burnsville has some more activity in the bullpen as well. Curveball, nice job by Gonzalez to keep it in front.
Nice block, yep. And that's kind of one of the coaching pointers. The Burnsville coach came out a couple batters that go, just a little instruction on.
Yeah, just kind of flipping his glove over,
Yeah.
right? 1-1, 2 outs, bottom of the 5th, 10-6 our score, ball in the dirt. Another good block by Gonzalez. And he's not the biggest guy, so I mean, it's not like he has a big frame, right?
Yeah.
So
That saved a run, that little
Yep.
stuff, right? That.
Yep. Looks like Birch for Burnsville's getting loose in their pen. I haven't seen any action. Oh yeah, no, Eagan's got some action too. Looks like Roiger's getting loose. There's a ball laced to the gap. Does
Okay.
Kierstead have enough room? And a great catch! Great catch by Kierstead. I guess they're going to try to figure out if it was trapped or not, but you know, I thought that the wind was going to hold it up just enough, but wow, Kierstead ran that thing down. We'll maybe get a replay here in a second.
What an effort.
Coaches are just kind of just getting a double check here to make sure that they saw it go into the glove. We'll come back in 30 seconds here and hopefully get a replay on that wonderful catch. But we have a 10-6 ball game, end of 5. We'll be back in 30 for the top of the 6th inning here at Eagan Ballpark.
Honey, what I think you need is a socket wrench.
I played JV basketball.
I'm sorry. I don't think it looks right.
This is good, and it's all good, baby.
Is it really all good?
If you love me enough to routinely test your handyman skills, not to mention the strength of your marriage, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat.
I'm gonna call my dad.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
CWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
Welcome back, top of the 6th inning here at Wildcat Park. After we just witnessed a run-saving, potentially double or even a triple-saving, wonderful catch in center field by Eli Kierstead. Trying to see if we get the replay, but it's kind of right behind that pole. There it is. Oh yeah, ball's in his glove. It looks like you can see the white, but I think it stays in there the whole time. But just stretched out wonderfully for that play. Kept it a 10-6 game as David Rockford had a big bases-clearing triple to make it 10-6. Eagan, though, did score 4 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and left that one on base to make it 10-6 after being held scoreless for 3 straight innings. For Eagan now, we're going to see another pitcher, another lefty coming in. It's number 15, Luke Roiger. And then I believe we also have a new shortstop. We do, which is Ryan Eckerly. So Eckerly pinch hit for Cunningham and will stay in at short. You did miss the replay. You saw the white of the ball in his glove, but it did look like it stayed in his glove the whole time. But just an
what
amazing.
An effort.
Yeah, he knew he had to make the play. He doesn't make that play, probably another triple. Wild thing was we had 2 triples that last inning the way it was for Eagan. But some life has been breathed back to the Wildcats as now it's a 10-6 game. They bring in their second lefty in a row here with Roiger. And so now we've seen, let's see here, 4 pitchers for Eagan and 3 for so far for Burnsville. Yeah, I think we're waiting on a right. A new right fielder, right?
So it looks like Tate Gage like went to right field. And they moved David Rockford into second base, as we said earlier. You know that people can play spots if they need to, and looks like Coach Butler's making some late inning game adjustments here to keep this one close.
First pitch fouled away. Good job by Roiger getting in early with a strike. And we have number 11, which is the pitcher, Ben Wolfel. So it looks like they dropped the DH as far as Burnsville goes, unless it was a player position switch. Yeah. As Wolfel pops one to left, Wynn's going to hold it up for Anderson. Does a nice job of getting back and coming in to make the out. Nice job by Roiger. 3 pitches and 1 out.
Luke comes in and throws strikes.
I would be personally, I'd be surprised if they'd pull their DH after he had that home run to right, but you never know. So now we're going to have Nick Muser. Yeah, so they did some type of player switch because Einberger should be next, yeah. Curveball just misses.
Casey, the board says a lot when Burnsville has 10 runs on 5 hits. You know, it speaks to how the afternoon has been going with Eagan so far. But
Eagan's got 3 hits and 6 runs, right?
Yeah.
And it's a home run and 2 triples. And if Kierstead doesn't make that catch, it's probably 3 triples, which, like we've said, the unusualness of baseball. I don't know the last time I've seen 3 triples in a game, more or less even a series in the majors, right? 1-1's our count, 1 out, 10-6 our score. Roiger's pitch is low. Muser's had a decent day at the plate as well. He had that big double where George Anderson almost made a Kierstead-like catch in the second in right center field. As we mentioned, Tate Gage, who pinch ran earlier and stole a base, swung on a miss. Stole a base when he pinch ran earlier, is now playing right. That brings David Rockford into second. Otherwise, for the most part, Eagan's still the same. And Eckerly playing short, exactly, yep.
So he switched up the middle infielders and had to buy a little spark.
Ground ball cut off by Huseman, over in time to Fensky. Routine play. Nice job by Will, taking advantage of the slow roller. Eckerly's obviously playing deeper in the hole anyways, so because if the shortstop has to come up and get that play,
it's probably a base hit.
Yep,
probably
exactly.
a base hit. And your third baseman, he needs to get everything he can.
Yep.
Anything that was left, certainly go get.
So the DH comes up, which is Einberger. And he hits one, and we get Eckerly gets the first chance here. Eckerly, nice quick release. Defensky, so Roiger, I think, in about a 9-pitch inning,
very nice.
Goes 3 up, 3 down. So for Burnsville, no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. 10-6 our score. We'll be back for the bottom of the 6th in 30 seconds on Eagan TV.
You don't have to wear your PT gear anymore, right?
It's comfortable.
So how's civilian life treating you?
It's fine.
When I got out, I didn't want to admit that there was anything wrong because I felt like a failure. And then I realized, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I started talking to someone. Maybe you are fine, but if you're not, it's okay.
Thank you.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach.
All right, we're back here. Bottom of the 6th, Casey Lux with Adam Huseman at lovely Wildcat Park. Home opener for the Wildcats of Eagan. First game of the season for the Blaze of Burnsville in the South Suburban Conference. And it's pretty much kind of what we thought. It's that kind of heavyweight back and forth. 2 by the Wildcats in the first on a 2-run homer by Huseman, and then 8 by the Blaze, and then it was kind of no scoring for a couple innings. And when the Blaze scored 2 in the top of the 5th, and the Wildcats followed that up with 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th. So we'll see if that hot bat and confidence for the Wildcats comes back in. And then we got some upcoming action as well. So Wednesday, you'll see Burnsville at Eagan for softball. It's Saturday, as Adam referenced earlier, is a big day for Eagan Baseball and Baseball Association with Grand Rapids coming to town. And then following that, we come right back 2 days later on Monday against Farmington.
And again, a big thank you to ETV for doing this. They do great work, great camera work, great truck work.
So Ben Wolfel is our pitcher. He's the third pitcher of the day for Burnsville. He came in relief of Heckman, the right fielder. For Eagan, we got Tate George. That's a basketball player from UConn. Tate Gage. I apologize to the Gage family. Tate Gage, who earlier pinch ran solo base and then also now playing right field. So Gage getting his first at-bat of the day. Did he bat on Friday, or is this his first at-bat of the season?
No, Tate did play on Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got an older brother at Augsburg.
Yep.
Maybe another one. He's
I remember his brother before.
Yeah,
previous.
long line of Gages.
Yep.
Football players, wrestlers,
Yep.
baseball players.
2-0 count here. Wolfel on the mound to Gonzalez. Outside corner for a strike. And that's where Wolfel's been strong, has been working the outside corners to righties or lefties. You know, it doesn't look like he's necessarily overpowering them with his fastball. Hasn't thrown a lot of off-speed, but has done a decent job of keeping it down in the zone. Down the middle, nice job by Gage, found it straight back, so just missed it.
Another person you'd like to get on base here because Tate runs pretty well as well.
What grade is Tate?
Tate, I believe, I should know this. I believe
Junior.
he is a junior, yeah.
Okay. They said we'll have our booklets by Thursday, I think. So, I'm getting to know these guys as well. Fastball misses out. Big pitch upcoming, 3-2. Don't want to walk that leadoff hitter, especially a guy with some speed. (10-6) our score. Burnsville out hitting the Wildcats 5-3, yet there's plenty of runs on the board. There's that 3-2 pitch low.
You like getting the leadoff guy on.
Like I said, especially some speed. And that now will bring up
Joe
Anderson, who had that big triple to start the fifth last inning.
And then we're going to get to the top, and then you know, there is some power. There is some power at the top of the order too. I think Griffin Finsky's due today here, so he should have looking for a good at-bat up from him next.
Burnsville's played solid defense all day. Excellent run-saving, potentially, rally continuing catch by Kierstead last inning on that diver in the gap, which he
that was a highlight.
Robbed.
That was a highlight.
Yeah.
Highlight film catch right there. That's Sports Center stuff.
Fastball on the outside corner.
I mean, amazing catch. It was nice. He was a lefty going, to left center. But, yeah, an amazing
That was
catch.
Lunenburg.
Lunenburg,
yeah.
Correct.
And like we said, that very well would have been, a double if it gets by, maybe, another triple. And could have made it 10-7.
And
fastball lows. Yep. But, as we said previously, too, kind of tip your hat to David Rockford because battled that count. He got down 0-2. Battled that count and then hits that triple, bases clearing triple. Gage at first, 2-1's our count. Wolfel on the mound, pitch to Gonzalez. Ball's hit up the middle to Santelman, bobbles it, does get that first leadoff out as he flips it over to Sieben. But Anderson safe at first.
Hit the ball well. I mean, hit the ball hard, but.
Well, and as you know, too, with the lead, right? Yes, people say that's a, routine double play, but you just get that first out, right?
Get the out.
Just keep, they're at the point now where they need 6 outs to win this game, right?
You'll trade an out almost for anything now, right? With a 4-run lead and only now 5 outs left.
Yeah. Collect outs like baseball cards as much as you can here. So leadoff hitter now is going to be Griffin Fensky.
And to have first and second, nobody out with leadoff, that's very different than this situation here.
Fensky swings on the first pitch, ball's hit over to Muser. Muser plays only to first with a strong throw.
A nice play.
Yep. So Anderson now at second. Fensky goes after the first pitch. George Anderson, the center fielder, comes up looking to kind of get some damage done here. Find a way to get in Anderson. The one thing I was kind of interested in is if he didn't swing at the first pitch was if they were going to potentially put Anderson in motion. You know, I think same thing with Tate at first too. I think if you get a little deeper in the count, which you can't, you're not going to tell these guys to hold off on a pitch they think they can, put a good swing on. But low strike.
If you're Burnsville, you definitely would like to have Will lead off the inning as opposed to coming up with a couple guys on base.
Yep.
So this is
but
a
yeah,
big
I was just
out
curious
for them.
if they were going to potentially put some people in, not even necessarily a straight steal. It might have been a hit and run potentially. But you also don't want to run yourself out of the inning either when you're down 4. So you're kind of in that tough spot. 0-1's count to George Anderson, center fielder. Big swing on the high outside fastball. Anderson, the left fielder, on second. Reached on that fielder's choice, but did have that big triple that sparked the 4-run rally in the bottom of the 5th. 10-6 our score. 2 outs, 0-2 count, excuse me. Woelfel's pitch to Gonzalez. Curveball gets him. Drops it on the outside corner. So for Eagan, excuse me, in the 6th, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on. It's 10-6. We'll be back in 30 seconds for the top of the 7th inning here at Wildcat Park.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
See, Smokey thinks I'm funny.
Welcome back to Wildcat Park here. Casey Lux and Adam Huseman. Top of the 7th inning. And we have our 4th pitcher of the day, Luke Roiger, who had about a 6 or 7 pitch inning, a very effective inning last inning. So they have the confidence in Luke to try to get another quick inning and get back down to that lineup. For Burnsville, though, we will have their 7, 8, 9 hitters coming up. Their shortstop, John Santalman, who's been on base at least twice and has a stolen base today, will be leading off here for Burnsville. Eagan, for the most part, has kept their lineup at bay as far as their defense goes, but they do have Tate George in right and brought in David Rockford into second base. And then also, Ryan Eckerly into shortstop as well. So
Luke Roiger had looked very good in the 6th inning.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think combination of his fastball, and then he looks like he's got good movement on his curveball, and was really getting ahead of hitters for the most part too, right? And then I think the first batter was 1 pitch and an out, and then I think the third batter was 1 pitch and an out as well. So like I said, it'll be 7, 8, 9 for Burnsville. It's John Santalman, the shortstop, who's done a nice job at short today too. It hasn't had to make any kind of Derek Jeter-like plays, but has made all the routine plays as well for the Blaze. Fastball's up for a ball, 1-0's our count. 10-6 our score, 5 hits for the Blaze, 3 hits for the Wildcats. The Blaze have a 2-run homer by the DH, Darren Einberger, and Wildcats had a 2-run homer in the first by Will Huseman, the third baseman. 2-0's the count. Roiger working with the freshman catcher, Brandon Lunenberg.
And the wind has died down a little bit now, so it's a
little more true.
Yeah, a little more true conditions.
There's a fastball down the middle.
Well, spring baseball in Minnesota, though, and this is what you get.
Yeah. Well, Prince's lyrics came true, right, over the weekend. Sometimes it snows in April. 2-hopper to Huseman. Huseman gets up, fires it over to Fensky in time. Smooth and easy. Nice job by Roiger of coming back after being down 2-0. That'll bring up number 14, Paul Gonzalez, the catcher.
You know, Casey, as you went through the box score, really just one inning. One inning for Eagan today that has caused them some trouble.
Yeah. Gonzalez fouls it away. And you know, I mean, Burnsville, obviously, they earned those first 2 runs. They smashed one to right center for a double, then they smashed a home run to right. And yes, it's get some wind, but, that ball's getting over David's head probably with the wind anyways.
Yeah, that's a double for sure.
Yeah, so,
anyway,
it could have been 2-1. It was just, then you compounded with some walks and some errors. A bad throw over to first with a guy on third. I mean, I've always, as a pitcher myself, I just, I just don't like throwing over to first when a guy's on third base because you could even throw it over perfect and maybe the first baseman's not looking for it, Or maybe that guy takes a big lead and he just takes off once you throw over. I don't like throwing over to first when you got a guy on third. Ball's popped to left. Anderson's going back, but he's done a nice job of tracking it left field today with that wind.
Well, very impressive with Luke Roeger this afternoon. I mean, so far, 2 innings, thrown very well.
Yeah,
doing very well.
Nice piece of hitting by Gonzalez on a non-windy day that might get over his head. Who knows? But I've been impressed with Anderson. Anderson's done a nice job of getting that drop step and going deep back, and then knowing that he can come back in instead of just kind of floating back there, right? So now we have the number 9 hitter, which is the left fielder Eric Kilgore.
Well, as they say, first step back for so many outfielders.
Excuse me, we have Eric Kilgore. Yeah. Sorry, I thought it was somebody else.
Yeah, first step back for outfielders. They can always come in.
Yep.
But I will say as a theme, and I have been impressed with Burnsville in some of their at-bats. Granted, they had the one big inning, which is great, but as we've talked about, some of their approaches they've not struck out. Some of their approaches with 2 strikes, they've extended at-bats. They put the ball in play.
Roeger's 0-1 pitch. He offers. Oh, 2 outs. All right, Roeger tries to get out of has another quick inning here without throwing something too good as that one gets lifted to left. Nice communication between George and Joe, the Andersons. And George brings it in. So Roeger, another quick inning of less than 10 pitches. So for Burnsville, no runs on no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. We move to the bottom of the 7th here at Wildcat Park on Eagan TV. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Welcome back. Bottom of the 7th. They got the tunes cranked up for the rallying, I think, here.
The fans are getting their money's worth here today.
Yeah, and we're sitting in the shade, too, getting our toes worth today, too. But once again, before we dive too much into the 7th, a big thank you for Eagan TV. Flawless production. First game of the year. We're so happy to have them. I'm excited for more games. We're going to run over a couple of the big Eagan sponsors here real quick that we'd like to thank real quick, and Mr. Huseman will do so.
Eagan TV, a big thank, and also some of our key sponsors for this year, so much so. Walden Jewelry, Travis Walden does a wonderful job there. Midwest Bank, Polish Pets, Dunkin' Donuts, U.S. Bank, Affinity Credit Union, TCO, so many great sponsors. Eagan Arms, which offers a lot of stuff for post-game activities. Chick-fil-A, who's done a lot. Escape Travel, Marie Anderson, George Anderson, center fielder's mom. So many great sponsors that.
And we'll give them a lot more recognition throughout the year, especially on Saturdays. So, senior third baseman Will Huseman, first pitch, ground ball hit to second. Sieben over to Newts. So Wolfville does a nice job of getting that first pitch across and getting a big out against Will. Can't blame it, though. I mean, you know, sometimes what are you going to do? You're going to sit up there and watch a couple pitches, and you might not see the best pitch all day. So I think Wolfville was willing to kind of test him and attack him.
Had a good swing. You know,
Yeah, had to move Sieben over a couple steps. DH, George Esser up at the plate. See if he can spark the rally here. Wolfville pitching now, curveball. So kind of mixing in his curveball now as he's pretty much thrown fastballs previously. Came in relief of the right fielder Heckman after a wonderful outing by Disher, the starting pitcher. I would have kind of been interested to know if they had a gun on, you know, if somebody had a gun out here today, what Disher was hitting in. I'm not just saying it was, you know, crazy numbers, but he did have some good snap on his fastball, especially that first and second inning, and seemed to keep it throughout the game as well. So 0-2's the count to Esser. 1 out here, 10-6 our score as the Burnsville Blaze look to get their first win of the year in the South Suburban Conference.
Good hold there.
3 straight curveballs to Esser here in this at-bat. But yeah, no, I was saying before, the field looks. I mean, I know that with all that snow, that also meant a lot of moisture. So once it came off, that the grass is going to be green. It should be soft. But for the first game of the year, this it looks. I mean, it's played pretty true. Yeah, right.
I would agree. You know, historically, Eagan's had, I think, has maintained a very nice surface.
Yep.
And that's a nice ballpark with the fence that was put in. I don't know now, 10 years ago. It's been a while, but it's a nice ballpark.
Yep.
Lights would be nice.
Yeah. In time, maybe. Ooh, didn't want to pull the string because that one looked like it was there. Wolfville throwing some, mixing in some curveballs here after he pretty much was a fastball-only pitcher the previous inning.
Or turf would be better maybe than lights.
Yeah,
maybe that's the first thing. Yeah, that was a tough one, I think, for George to hold off on, too.
Yeah.
That could have.
3-2's the count, 1 out. 10-6 our score. Fastball is strike 3. So Wolfville comes back, throws that fastball in the outside corner, gets the big out, and that's going to now bring up David Rockford, who had that big bases clearing triple back in the 5th inning. As we mentioned, David had 2 hits against Lakeville South. Now the team lead in RBIs. 2 outs, 10-6 our score. Burnsville Blaze leading the Eagan Wildcats. Wolfville's pitch in the outside corner is there for a strike.
And Wolfville's throwing strikes. I mean, he's come in and done his job.
Absolutely. One's the count. Wolfville's pitch to Gonzalez, inside missed. A little off speed. That one looked like a changeup that time. Coach Butler's gotten 5 guys in off of his bench.
Almost the whole roster has been able to work.
Almost everybody's gotten in today. Burnsville's kept their lineup out there for the most part. They brought in Wolfville to pitch, and they brought in Westrom for pinch hit.
Yeah, and the couple guy, I mean, Danny Lockemeyer started on Friday, so he probably wasn't going to come in. Connor Strop threw a little bit on Friday. So.
Yeah, you got to save some arms, right, if possible.
And as we said, the Eagan lineup.
Nice cut by.
Nice swing by David.
By David, yep.
And then with Eagan with games tomorrow at Shakopee.
And hopefully the rain stays away, right?
Yeah. So Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, upcoming games for Eagan.
Yeah.
And again, come on out Saturday if you can and support Eagan Live and Youth Day and Alumni, and always a fun afternoon.
Yeah. Fouled away. 2-2's the count, 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th. 10-6 is our score. Eagan jumped out to a 2-0 lead on a 1-out, 2-run homer by Will Huseman in the bottom of the first. Burnsville then followed that up with a 2-run homer to tie it by Einberger, and then put on another 6 in a variety of ways, fouled away by Rockford to make it 8-2. Then we didn't see any scoring for quite some time. Burnsville did a nice job of kind of chipping away and tacking on 2. One on a kind of an errant throw on a steal. And then Eagan then found a way to put up 4 in the bottom of the 5th to make it a 10-6 game, to breathe some life back into that offense. And maybe Kierstad's the one that kind of ended the rally, right, with the amazing diving grab in the gap. That would have definitely brought in a run. It could have been another triple. I mean, yes, there would have been 2 outs, but it could have been a 10-7 game with a guy on third, a pass ball makes it 10-8. You just don't know. So, but yeah, excellent defense, excellent hustle. Big swing by Rockford again.
Yeah, that may be one of the better plays we see, frankly, the whole year.
Well, it was just such a clutch time play, right? And like we said, you never know, but George Anderson has the same type of play in the second inning on I think it was Muser's double. Yeah. Not saying that Burnsville doesn't score any runs that inning, because maybe Brody walks a guy or 2 or so forth, but yeah, some excellent defense at points. That one gets behind David. Even gets a laugh from the pitcher, I think, from the Eagan faithful.
Some of the students showed up.
I didn't know that David had his own personal bodyguard at all games.
It's fun to see the students show up at some of the games.
I have a good time.
Yep. Is it as pure?
Within reason,
yes.
Nothing obscene.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have a good time. David hits a ground ball to Newt, takes a big hop. Seaman does a nice job of covering it. Wolfel covers the base, so they do everything that they're supposed to do. It was a tough hop on Newt's on that grounder, but excellent job by Seaman to be there. And then you also tip your hat to Wolfel, the pitcher, because normally pitcher. I mean, granted he's supposed to be covering, but some guys give that up and go, "Wow, he's gonna go get it himself," right? So, anyways.
And David put a good swing on that, and what an at-bat.
Absolutely.
I mean, he extended that at-bat. You never know, right? This is what you do.
Yep. So it brings up the shortstop, Ryan Eckerly, who replaced the sophomore Matt Cunningham a few innings ago. He's done a nice job. Got 1 or 2 grounders his way as well. Second at-bat of the day. Rockford at first, 2 down, 1-0 is our count, 10-6 is our score here on Eagan TV. They showed you the upcoming action. Got softball tomorrow or Wednesday? Tomorrow, I thought.
Softball was Wednesday.
Yep.
Baseball tomorrow, softball Wednesday.
Yep. But as far as Eagan TV, they got softball on Wednesday. Yep. Then we're back on Saturday for Eagan TV against Grand Rapids. That's a noon start. Is that correct?
Yep, noon start on Saturday.
And then we'll also be back on Monday as well.
I believe that's Farmington.
Yep.
Coming to town.
Which last few years, those have been like 2-1 games.
Yeah.
1-1 pitch here to Eckerly. Fouled away. Wolfel throwing to Gonzalez. Rockford at first. Had that big bases clearing triple in the 5th. With 2 strikes. I believe that was with 1 out, right?
1 out.
Okay. It wasn't a 2-out triple. It was a 1-out triple. Wolfel's pitch. Nixon. So, another hit by pitch. I think that makes it 2 for each team, which now is going to bring up freshman hitter Brandon Lunenberg, who should have some confidence after popping that one in the gap that Kierstead ran down and made the diving play. Amazing catch. So now Rockford's at second. Eckerly's at first. 2 outs.
Well, now Egan's just saying don't be the last out, right?
Exactly. Trying to breathe some life here. Not seeing any rally caps because it's too cold. Wolfel's just going to keep trying to pound the zone as that one is high.
So Tate Gage on deck.
Okay. And then that would, Tate Gage then.
And then Joe Anderson, and then back to the top if he can get that far.
Fastball misses. I don't see anybody in the pen for Blaze.
You and I both leaned over the same time to see if there was anybody. Looks like they might be.
Of course, we got to take it time. Just want to slow things down here, make everybody think. Allow Wolfel to breathe a little bit. Maybe reconvene with the pitch sequence.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it should be nothing but, for them, I would think nothing but fastballs.
I would think so.
You got a 4-run lead with 2 outs. You only have 2 guys on. It's not like there's a grand slam opportunity.
And, yeah, based on knowing in the pin, looks like Wolfel may be who they're going to go with today just for the rest. And he's thrown well in relief. I mean, he's done a nice job.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. For the most part, he's kept it outside. He's also kept it, belt and below.
Yep.
He hasn't really gotten beat of keeping it up. I mean, I think even if you look back, even the triple that David hit wasn't a bad pitch. He just kind of came inside a little bit. I don't think it was I don't think it was anything down the middle, right? Anderson's, I think, was a little different. But that Anderson's was off of Heckman, so that wasn't off of Wolfel. So 2-0 count, 2 down here. Wildcat Park. Got Eckerly at first, Rockford at second. Fastball's in there for a strike to make it 2-1. The battery is Wolfel, who came in relief of Heckman. Gonzalez catching.
As a coach, you like a good mound visit. Mound visit, and you come out with
especially when they throw that strike. Look pretty smart then. Oh boy.
Oh.
So I would think that was maybe, I don't know. I don't want to. I guess I don't want to assume that was talked about. Like, hey, we'll throw a strike.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you're trying to pick the guy off. That would be something different where it's like maybe a tie game or something like that. You know what I mean? And you might see something. You go, hey, let's see if we can get this guy out so we don't have to face this batter. I don't think you're going to try to pick off a guy right there with a 4-run lead. 2-1, 2 outs.
Well, if we can load the bases, it can at least make it
Eckerly
interesting.
at first, right? Eckerly at first, Rockford. Now, if he tries to pick off move to third, we'd have the trifecta. All before throwing a pitch at the plate. I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
As we've said, we've seen a lot here in the Eagan home opener.
2-1. Pitch to Gonzalez outside. 3-1. It's I think what's kind of a rarity is normally you'd say you have to go up there and protect the dish, but for some of these Eagan hitters with these 2 outs and Wolfel kind of missing the zone, you kind of almost just kind of sit and wait for the juicy one,
Yeah.
Comes back with a low and outside.
Well, if he can hit a gap with Eckerly probably off here, right, on 3-2, 2 outs. Maybe could score a couple here, but
still have some work to do. 3-2.
Yeah. Don't get picked off first.
2 outs. To the freshman catcher, Lunenberg, fouled away. Good piece of hitting.
Good job.
Brennan's had some good at-bats today.
Yep. Yeah, and he's a strong kid for a freshman. I mean, I think if somebody told, I think a lot of people just assume that he's a junior, But the experience he's going to gain this year,
Bright future.
Some of these young kids will be huge for not only for the program in the coming years, but just for how the team will be towards the end of the year to the playoffs.
Bright future for some of these kids.
All right, payoff pitch. Wolfel in the dirt, gets by him. Rockford's coming in. He'll score. So, tack another one on the board, 10-7.
Well, now we got the tying run is now at the plate.
Now you have a chance. Now you got the chance to get one up in the wind. And then we can stay here till about 9 o'clock. Well, I don't know, whenever the sun goes down.
Yeah.
Still no hits this inning. 2 errors.
And the box score continues to get interesting.
Yeah. Wow. I think if you know, like you said, it's like, you know, if I talk to my dad tonight and I go, hey, 8 hits. What do you think the score was? 8 hits between two teams.
I doubt he'd say 17 runs.
Right. I think even if I said, hey, there's 2 home runs, you'd be like, oh, okay, like I don't know, like 6-5, 4-3. Okay, so we're gonna make a pitching change. So Wolfel's gonna come out. They're gonna bring in the third baseman Muser, which then's gonna move a whole lot of action here. So, okay. Oh, wow. So they're bringing in Disher to the third. I wonder if he was playing in the outfield and they brought
Changes.
Or they just really.
I don't know. I don't. Wholesale moves everywhere.
Well, they would have had to bring him in because he can't re-enter after he'd already been replaced. So I'm wondering if they would have brought him in after they took out Heckman. I bet you they put him in the outfield and then brought in the pitcher.
Well, no, you could re-enter your starting pitcher, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what they did.
Yep, yeah.
Okay. But
yeah,
I mean,
now
he's
you got
been sitting
people
on the
that have been
bench
sitting.
forever. Yeah. I mean, you just need one out, but the thing is, you know, I don't think I saw Muser warming up in the pen. I mean, just
no, he's just coming out. Yeah, he was not warming up between innings, so he's just coming from third base to.
You know, maybe as they're closing, they're just waiting for him to get the save opportunity.
A stat builder, you're saying.
I just always think that Major League Baseball, it's just so silly. It's like teams up by 4, then all of a sudden the guy gives up a run or 2, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, now we get to bring our closer because it's a save opportunity. It's like, yeah, but the other guy that's already out there could get those last 2 outs anyways.
Yeah.
Then again, nowadays, sometimes those 7th and 8th inning relievers get paid just as much, if not more, than closers because they're more important. Okay, so what else can we see today that we haven't seen in a long time?
Now, will Eagan take a strike, do you think? You got to wonder.
I would think he takes one.
I would think so.
Yeah, I would think so. So Tate Gage came in, basically replaced Elias New, because then he went out to right and Rockford came in a second. David scored on that pass ball, got over to third on that ill attempt of the pickoff at second, and Lunenburg does a nice job of finding his way onto first, and then you got Eckerly at second. So, base hit makes things really interesting. Walk can make things even more interesting. Fastball in there for a strike. So now you go and you see what you got.
Well, especially if Tate can get on, you've got a lot of power behind you between Anderson and Finsky, both of which could have some heroics.
Fastball misses, allows, oh boy,
get back.
Allows Eckerly to move up from second. Going over the first thirds, which really doesn't matter. I mean, you just got to get an out here.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they would steal.
I think even if you did steal, I think they just
throw
hold
anyway,
on to it. Yeah. I mean, you lose the force, but you only need to get one out. 1-1 count here. Muser came in a relief. Fastball's up. Tate George, junior. Tate Gage, the junior, right fielder. As I mentioned earlier, stole a base as he pinch ran for Lunenburg earlier. Lunenburg at first, Eckerly at third. Muser definitely starting to, arms loosening up in the moment because the fastball is picked up, I feel like, almost every pitch. But in doing so, it's gotten higher and higher every pitch. Thrown 4 straight fastballs, 3-1 count, 2 down. 10-7's our score. Bottom of the 7th. Burnsville trying to hold on. Fastball over the middle. Took something off. See, I think that was kind of the key, right? That was about the same speed as the first pitch. And then the next three, he was trying to pump it, but it was kind of rising. So here's the big pitch, the payoff. 3-2 pitch to take Gage. 2 down. Burnsville up 10-7. Bottom of the 7th. Fastball out. And everything just tightens up a little bit more here.
Well, and a lot can happen, but these next 2 hitters is, 2 of the best power hitters that Eagan has between Joe and Griffin Finsky.
So as we mentioned earlier, Anderson had the big triple to start the 5th inning to kind of start that rally. Put it in the gap that rolled all the way to the 384 sign. So we got, we'll have Gage at first, Lunenburg at second, Eckerly at third, Anderson on the mound. Anderson at the plate.
And we are butting up against some darkness here at 7:42.
So maybe we do need a pitch clock.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that was a 3-hour game, but I suppose, Eagan's thrown 4 pitchers. Now Burnsville's thrown 4 pitchers, right?
Yes.
Pinch runner, so we're going to bring in Lachenmeyer. Yeah, Lachenmeyer's going to come in for Lunenburg. What age is Danny?
Danny Lachenmeyer is a junior.
And then his older brother was a senior last year?
Alex just graduated last year. And,
center fielder.
Center fielder, left fielder, whatever. And Danny plays, Danny's also a hockey player.
Okay. All righty, Musers, first pitch. Fastball up to Anderson.
And I think if would want to, would certainly probably have some ability to play college baseball. I mean, a left-handed pitcher, throws well.
Yep.
Appears to be probably the ace on this year's staff, or at least.
Yep. All right, Musers 1-0 pitch to Gonzalez. Fastball is in there for a strike in the outside corner. One is our count, 2 down.
And Gage runs really well at first base, so
I'd like to think you put something in the gap, you're going to take a chance. Fastball again in there for a strike. Musers trying to get his confidence back, letting it loose, keeping it low. 10-7's our score. 1-2's our count. 2 down. Wildcat Park. First game of the season for Burnsville. Second game of the season in conference for Eagan. We're probably dipping down to that 40-degree mark now.
It's getting cold now. It's getting cold.
1-2 pitch, fastball low. Good eyes, good patience there by Anderson. It's tough not to get a little jittery when it's 1-2 count, bases loaded.
40 degrees and windy after 3 hours.
First game, first home game. Everybody's been excited. The kids don't care what the temp is. There's the fastball. Oh. That one's tough. That one's a tough one to take, I think, if you're Eagan.
Yeah.
Because that fastball looked up. On a 6'2 guy, that's a little different story. On Anderson, that's a tough one to take. But hats off to both teams. Eagan kept fighting, found their way back in it, made it 10-7 with a chance of the tying run at the plate. Or excuse me, a tying run at first. Burnsville didn't give up after that home run by Huseman, put up 8 in the second. We'd love to give you a long recap, but it's 7:40, folks. So we'd like to thank Eagan TV once again for the wonderful work, camera work. Thank you all for help and support Eagan TV and Eagan Baseball, as well as Burnsville, because I know this is a simulcast. For Adam Huseman here, and I'm Casey Lux. Have a wonderful night, and let's all warm up a little bit for the next one. Thank you.